You've just got to find something from somewhere, even if you're fuck tired, you've had 20 fucking Jaegers, and just go, yes, mate, what's happening? Be good. Cut it short or not.
And I can hold my hands up to that because I used to see you every weekend in Santa Chapito, so I've got about 1 million pictures with you.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
There you go, there's proof. I'm not a piece of
living proof. You saved his life.
I'm not the piece of shit everyone thinks I am.
Get on this tattoo, lads.
Episode 107 of the What's Happening podcast. Hope you've all had a lovely week since we last joined you. In the studio this week, we're joined by none other than Darren Till. Darren, how are we doing?
The main man, Darren Till.
I appreciate it. We know you don't do a lot of podcasts as well, so I appreciate it.
I'm against podcasts, but when they're good, I come down.
It's just shows that happen when you go over to someone, Kenny, and ask them to go on a podcast and say, it's perfect, it makes a charm. How have you been? I know obviously good, you've not been fighting as much the last couple of years, but you've been keeping yourself occupied and that. What have you?
I feel like my name's always out there for some reason. So but yeah, I've been keeping quiet because of the fighting and that, because obviously I left the UFC.
Yeah.
So that's sad. I don't really shout and do a lot of shouting about it now because I like to just keep my cards close to my chest. But yeah, I'm okay. I always train. I've got a little plan in place that I'm going to do with the boxing and stuff like that. Hopefully go back to UFC. But that's it for now. But there's always other things that are, you know, here, there,
still
everywhere.
Still only young as well, old are you?
31.
31, that's what I mean. Like
everyone's always shocked when I say that.
That's what I mean, most people don't.
Shocked in what way? Like, you're older or...?
Just because I think I rose to the top so quick when I was young.
Your name's been around forever,
yeah, so people assume, like, oh, you know, he fought for a title, he's done this, he's done that, so he must be like 35. But I'm like 31, and in MMA years, that's quite young, you know, considering your peak's like 35.
Holloway seems like he's been about forever, he's only just 32.
Exactly, yeah, same for like Whittaker, because there's only like 33. I think Leon Edwards was 35. So I think your peak is 32, 33, they say in MMA. It's a little bit different for boxing, like 29, 28. So it's like football. Football's what, 27, 28 is it?
Yeah, peak years.
So your mid to late 20s.
It's different things.
What is it though, when you say it's your peak? What sort of start to drop off? Because obviously the older you are, the more fighting knowledge you have. Is it just part of your body just give up?
I think your mature years are with you when you're 30. I've felt it a lot now. Like, whereas when you're young, you just don't really, you don't really have thought process, do you? Everything, you just do everything, you attack everything, don't you?
Where does it tip then on the other side? Because I imagine you get to them peak years and then there's a fucking quick drop off. What is it? Is it just your legs go? Your fucking
I think
body?
everything. I think just like, I don't know. I can only speak for myself.
You're not there yet, so you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But I can only, and obviously I've seen people around me. You know, when like that sort of thing comes, it's like an invisible line. But so they say your peak years in MMA are like 31, 32, 33. I think
so I'm like a peak MMA athlete right now. Like
as far as it goes, you're in the UFC, lad. You're in your prime as far as it goes.
Yeah, I am prime fucking piece of steak.
So what are you doing at the minute? You're doing boxing, as in what type of boxing? Like
just
you going
just boxing, just pure boxing.
Fuck off, dickhead.
He means influencer boxing.
I know what you mean. I'm just being a dickhead.
Because I remember on your Twitter you were talking a lot about the influencer boxing and trying to get yourself into that. Is that still a thing, or are you just?
I think what I'm gonna do, it is a thing. Saying that, Jake Paul sent me manager a message the other day.
Did he? Yeah.
His manager obviously asking a few questions, but obviously I don't know too much yet. But when I first announced that I was leaving the UFC in, I think it was last year, the middle of last year, obviously all offers started rolling, like Dylan Dennis, Logan messaged, Jake messaged, Tommy, and because I know Tyson quite well, Tommy Fury's team like sort of said something, but I didn't want to just jump into something too fast. So what I've been just training the boxing non-stop now for a year. I've obviously got me, what you were saying off the podcast, then my own promotion that's based in South Africa called Guerrilla Fight Club that we are going to be launching soon. So I want this road to go very clear and straight. So I probably am going to do influencer boxing because that's where the money's at.
I was going to say, it's always in it. Like,
listen, I think whoever knows me knows I've always been an authentic, straight talking guy, but I'd probably be stupid not to do it.
No, yeah, 100%.
But then looking along the line at that, I probably would go into professional boxing.
Would you, yeah?
Have a little stab at that, and then my ultimate goal is to go back to UFC.
Because I was going to say, do you reckon it puts you at a disadvantage because you've got years of training as MMA, or do you reckon it gives you an advantage?
I don't know really, because I've always been from the striking background. Like I boxed when I was a kid, stuff like that. You know, I'm in a great boxing gym now here in the Rotunda. You know, there's loads of great fights in there. There's Smitzer in there, Josh Taylor, a lot of good fighters in there. So you know, I'm learning all around with them. You know, I'm making massive improvements, which I have been doing. I've been getting a hell of a lot of sparring with loads of good guys. So, you know, they're all, but as I say, I'm not that, you know, anyone who knows me on social media, I don't like to keep it sort of serious. I like to keep it fun. So I'll never come out with shouts like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I like to just sort of keep my cards close to me chest. Like people ask me, I've just finished training there in one of the weight gyms, people's like, oh, you know, this, that, and I just sort of nod and go along because, you know, I like to prove rather than, you know.
Anyone can say it, can't they?
It's easy enough to say anything, you know what I mean? It's very easy, but doing it is a different thing.
Words,
they do, 100%. And I've learned that a lot over my life. So I like to say a few things. I like to go at people a lot on social, but I try to keep it more. I'm more of like a professional troll.
To Bilal Muhammad the other week. You put the thing on, I'm going to try and stay positive. You know, I'm not going to be coming for anyone else. I hope you all have a boss day. And Bilal Muhammad was like, thanks man. You're like, that went for you. Like,
the real event there.
Actually, one of the UFC bosses messaged me and was laughing as he was crying his eyes out. So,
you know, I feel like on Bilal sometimes. You know, but like. I watch the UFC most weeks and I don't think I've ever stayed up for a Bilal fight. Like, I don't think it's possible to.
Some guys just are that guy and they're not, you know, like when you look at like your Conor McGregors and your Paddies and, you know, stuff like that, and obviously your Holloways and Adesanyas. Like, I'm not hating on Bilal, he's a great fighter, you know, he's obviously winning more fights than me at the one, but he just hasn't got that thing, do you know what I mean? He just hasn't, it's
the X Factor.
You need
Have you
that
ever seen the film Sausage Party?
No.
Look, let me find you this. That is the ringer. Because I know you're onto a lot of them MMA Twitter accounts are onto you as well.
Yeah, they are. A lot of them message me on the daily.
No, there's a pit of bread in Sausage Party. That is the ringer of Bilal Muhammad, and I'm not messing with you, lad.
So you're giving me ammo for Bilal here, but you're
listen, if ever you use this, lad, you've got to tag me in it. Lad. Look, tell me that's not the ringer of Bilal Muhammad, lad. I'll send you that, put it on the screen and put a picture of Bilal Muhammad.
I'll keep that tucked away.
So what do you mean he hasn't got like the selling point?
Just doesn't, even like when like Conor was coming up, like I always remember I was living in Brazil at the time. Like anything Conor said or did, it wasn't. You can always tell with someone when it's forced and when it's not. So like with me, when I just say things, no matter what, I just say them. Like Conor's the same, you see like Paddy's the same, people, they're just the same with Bilal. Not that he tries to force anything, he just hasn't got that it or... Like,
it doesn't come naturally to him, does it?
No, it doesn't, and you know what, he is a good fighter. Probably wouldn't be my first guy I'd watch fighting because I don't really like his style, but... You know, obviously the Khabib and Conor thing, why Khabib was more like fit, because Khabib is he's just got something, you look and you go, he's got that. More so than his brother Islam. So it's like... You can always just tell if anyone's got, even in boxing, it's the same thing, do you know what I mean? Like, I train along with the Smiths and they're fucking the best fighters you'll ever come, some of the best boxers you'll ever come across, but they're the same, they just like to keep themselves
they're not there in the media.
They don't like to get out there, do you know what I mean? They know who they are, they wake up every morning, they're not like, I'm going to be this guy or that guy, they just... And that's, I think you should keep it like that throughout your whole like career. If you're gonna, don't try and force it, because if you force it, people get onto it.
Well, it looked. I remember going back to when I think it was when McGregor come back to fight Poirier the first time, and then he went from like he was all of a sudden putting this dead like nice. Sort of persona on it. It like you can tell it didn't come that, and then the next fight he had when he was then trying to go back to the normal, just trying to terror him, it didn't. It sort of lost a bit of its fingers.
Yeah, that come up of Conor was like from 2015.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Well, I'd been into the UFC for years before it, but I only really started staying up to watch it when that was, because then
he was like for me he was like the monumental piece of like where your grandmother and that started watching it.
Well, he was the first he was the first one of them for MMA. Like obviously boxing has had generations of them before, and MMA is still relatively brand new.
UFC only came about in like the 90s, and then obviously had a spike in 2010 in the, like 2010. That was like when they were on like Fox and stuff, and they were coming through, and Dana was trying to make it, and then sort of you seen like 2012 onwards, then that's when it made that jump. And now people obviously compare it to boxing, which it's got a long way to go, but it's definitely going to get there.
One thing that does me head in, like I think it's interesting when you see MMA fighters cross over to fight boxers, but it's like it's going to be one in a million MMA fighters who go over to against a professional boxer. And like win. I just don't think we'd ever see a boxer go the other way.
It's happened. James Toney did it against Randy Couture years ago, but I mean,
is that when he felt a couple of leg kicks, didn't he? And
not to be like a cocky guy. We've just got too much much of an armory for
There's
them.
too many weapons that they've never prepared for before.
Has Anthony Joshua ever defended the takedown like a single leg? You know,
has he ever been hit with a leg?
And that's it. You've got to spin that many plates, learning that many disciplines. Whereas boxers, it's just right. It's coming at me from there. That's it.
I always speak to people because I don't like hating on boxing because I'm a boxer myself. But boxing's more of it's like a science sport to me. It's like beautiful. It's perfect. It's very dangerous because it's 12 rounds of continuous hitting in the head. MMA's more of your like rugged, tugged, elbows, knees to the nose. You know, you look at boxers and MMA fight, you go, oh, stay away from the MMA fighter. That's how I look at it. So but it's getting there. It really is.
How come you decided to put the Guerrilla Fight Club in South Africa? Was there a specific reason for it, or is it just
South Africa is just untouched territory? There's nothing there. The UFC haven't been. There's been no big boxing organisations there. When I travelled there last year, the slums has just got these amazing young talented fighters that you'll never ever hear about because there's
no opportunity.
So obviously,
platform,
one of the partners in it now, his father was the predecessor of Nelson Mandela. He's his son. He's our partner. Duduzani Zuma. He wants to do it, and I went over there. Like some of the meetings we had and that, but it's taking its time. Listen, whether it happens or not, I don't know. But it seems like it's gonna hopefully it takes off, hopefully.
And then with the promotion and stuff, with the influence of boxing, that makes sense to just have a fucking payday and just pump that back into the business.
Because you've already got the name about you anyway, but you know what it's like with these influencer events now, how big they can get.
And then you can use that to promote your own promotion by having a spot.
I went to
Conor did it, didn't he?
Tommy Fury KSI, that was fucking unbelievable. I don't know if any
terrible fight though.
It's unbelievable, terrible fight. Like, I mean, I was watching from the ringside. I was like, wow, this is. Even Tommy, I felt madly embarrassed. I was like, wow.
I did think that obviously, like, I've never competed professionally. I did at an amateur level, retired undefeated.
Because you never fought.
When I was on top of the game, I really very few ever have. I'm in a very specific category.
You and Mayweather, you're in a specific.
I'm passing his number actually. I'll get it on.
Danny calls on you.
Thank you.
I'm just like that. But I thought like I don't know. I think with Tommy Fury, he was still only that young. I think when he got into that sort of like more the YouTuber side of it, and like I don't know. Do you not think that's maybe put a bit of a taint on his actual what his career could have been?
I never know that he. Obviously, I'm not really a big TV viewer. I don't watch TV. I didn't never know he went on Celebrity Love Island with his girl. Like I know his girlfriend now is like dead famous. All the girls love her. But I don't know if I look back and I look at Tommy and I compare him to Tyson. Like I don't feel like Tommy wakes up in the morning and puts like his shitty gear on and gets out there.
Yeah, he's not.
That's how I look at Tommy. I'm not trying to like speak badly. You know,
but the different kinds of people. Like, if you just look at the two of them, they're different.
100%.
But are you putting that down to his ability, or could you put it down to as well the mental side of it? Because I thought that Tommy went through a lot for the build up to the fight and then the day of the fight. Like if he lost that, he was fucked. Yeah. So do you reckon it could have come down to ability, or would have been a bit fucked?
I'm not going off that fight in particular. Obviously, he's been around Tyson and John all his life, so to be around them, especially to be around John, he's a fucking crackpot. But you've got to be a tough guy because Tyson, like, no one can chat shit to Tyson. He's a tough fucking He's one of the best in the world. He's fighting Usyk now. But you look at Tommy, he's like handsome. He's fucking. I don't know. For me, I don't want to fucking because he probably could do it all, but I just don't feel like Tommy puts the work in.
Do you think the motivations are coming from different places, maybe?
Most probably, and now, like, you got to watch, he's fucking making a hell of a lot of money, like adverts, and I don't know how much he made off the KSI fight, but, and his girlfriend, I think his girlriend makes more than him.
She makes a pure
one thing I wanted to ask you about as well is I only seen it yesterday. I was chatting to my mate yesterday and I seen, I think it was on Twitter or something, it was a video on Mike Perry, he was either on, I don't think it was the MMA or it might have been, I don't know.
MMA fighting.
Something like that, and he said you turned down $2 million to fight him. I'm assuming that they've been in bare knuckle if the offer ever even come through in the first place.
I'm walking through the Baltic market in my slippers, I ain't saying it. No, what happened because obviously we've got our promotion. We wanted to like make the fight, blah blah blah. He's obviously signed to bare knuckle. I would fight bare knuckle, but as I said to you about peak years, I'm not fighting bare knuckle fighting at 31 years of age. I'm not getting my face busted up. So like, if I'm 35, I'll do it because you're coming to the end. You're like, come on, few fights, get a few milli signed. But I'm 31. I've got plans to go back to UFC. I've got plans to make a big impact in boxing now. I don't want to be doing this bare knuckle and then think, so he's sort of taking like, Till doesn't want to fight. Listen,
Yeah.
I don't care about Mike Perry.
I hate his face, you know.
There's been that thing,
Dude, you just got a face, hasn't he?
Would you say that to in front of him?
No. Right, man, listen, right, so I got a story for you, right? A few years ago, right, I was coming up Edge Lane with me bird in the car, and I was turning right down by fucking Magna Kitchens, right, and this car just fucking pulled me up, like cut me up from the left-hand lane. So I was like, you cheeky little cunt! Started following this car, I pulled up next to it, and it was you, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting off you later. I just drove away, my bird was like, when you say no, and I was like, nah, good driving, that. Dead good driving. I was just letting him know that I was sick in the kick and that, you know. I was like, fucking shit, me
Get on to it, waving in for us.
She's telling everyone about driving.
Yeah, you love it.
So would you do the bare knuckle?
I would, yeah, but there's got to be a time and a place. Like, I just think that now, Perry, listen, I can't fucking say a bad word about him. He's fucking beat everyone. He's got the title of the King of Violence. His new contract now as well is worth millions. Like,
yeah, that bare knuckle are paying some ludicrous amounts of money.
I'm very close with his manager as well. Like,
why are they paying so much?
It's just TV, TV deals. They just obviously Dana White wanted to buy it for 200 million, and they said no. So,
well, I heard something ages ago as well. That BKFC, isn't it the first ever sort of promotion to offer fighters like not like a pension scheme, but like, you know, like when they retire, they offer them like, because we're like with the UFC or like with Bellator, like once you retire, unless you come back and fight again, that's it. But they were offering the fighters like a thing after you retire.
Unless you've been like sort of a little bit of an entrepreneur inside UFC, like, once you're done, you're done. It's that's why sometimes when I've had my money, I've tried to like, obviously I like to spend as well, but I've tried to go, right, what business do I need? This, because I need passive income no matter what. But I think there was something about that. But the only thing that tells me is if Dana was trying to buy it, they must have something there, because Dana tries to sort of get the competition out the way before they get too like big. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what makes sense.
So does it work with that? Is your hand just taped? Is it?
So I think they just put a roll of fucking that feature tape, whatever it's called, like.
So and would that? I know it sounds like a stupid question, but like UFC gloves aren't that big. So would you feel the difference?
There's still a little bit of cushion though. There's still a bit of leather. There's still cushion. There's something there. Whereas, you know, you imagine just having how many rounds to do, 5 rounds just to that. It's fucking. I have to take my hats off. He's the king of violence. He really is. But, you know, we'll see. He's got his next fight now in 2-3 weeks. He's fighting Thiago Alves. He's probably going to win that as well. I've got to give Juice more.
I can imagine a lot of injuries on your hands though against skulls, innit?
Yeah, I think to do that you've got to have one of them types of fucking frame gym knuckles. Your hands have got to be solid. Otherwise they're just going to break.
I think bare knuckle fighting now, like if you had to build a sport for Mike Perry, it's that, innit?
It's that.
He's nuts.
In my opinion, I don't think it's ever going to be mainstream. I think it's too violent.
It's not going to be on prime time.
Your regular viewers aren't going to, like, you know, your girls and your fucking.
It happened with MMA when it first came about. Everyone
I was
going to
say that though.
It was illegal in France, wasn't it? In the 2010s.
MMA's only just became legal now in France. That BKFC is definitely not legal.
No, Dean Garnett was telling us about that, weren't he?
I think everything is time. Like, I could be wrong. 20 years BKFC could be mainstream, but I just don't see it. Just fucking, it's like a brawl, innit? It's not like UFC's a show. It's like a show.
It can be like. And I love watching fighting, and you see it on like TikTok or Instagram and that, and you see like the backyard fighting when it's like a little fucking pallet. And some of them, you go, oh, like you cringe a bit, you think that's heavy.
Even me, I've been around, that's all I've known in my life. When I watch the backyard and even the BKFC, I think, oh, that's
ruthless.
But you reckon there's like a traveller or a pikey anywhere, right, who would just fucking flatten everyone?
But does never go into that.
Who's just not in the fight.
Just never go into that,
Who's just like, I'll just bang anyone else.
I'd like to say, but this is the problem we've got, right? If you put a pikey against a skilled, let's say a skilled striker, like I like to think of myself as a skilled striker, corner stuff. It's just different.
It's like when Kimbo joined the UFC, innit?
Yeah, it's just
Kimbo's fight was an animal, but it was just a different game.
It's just like
you're just massive game of chess.
You're just gonna feint them up. They're gonna come lunging in. You're not gonna be there. You're gonna. Listen. There's a lot of hard consignment in the street, but there's a difference between a trained killer who does it every day of his life between someone who just drinks beer and fucking.
It is scary when you put it that way. That you put so much time of your whole life into fucking hurting people. Yeah. It's scary, innit?
That's why we call it trained. It's like, that's why sometimes I take it as disrespect and say, oh, I'm on the street. I think, do you actually know what I'd do to that guy? I wouldn't even have to punch him. I'd just wrap him up into a pretzel. That's what would happen. Like, I always speak to the lads when I go out. I'm not trying to come off as cocky. I don't ever see anyone as a threat, because I've trained since I was 12 to be a trained killer. and what some kid off the street who can knock a few people out's going to beat me in a fight. Like, it ain't going to
Do you
happen.
reckon you could have the three of us if we jumped on you now?
Should we try if we can?
Stop biting his dick.
As
Whoa, we brought this guy back.
Listen, lad.
That's tame for
I
him.
always
like
get
that,
our guess, you know.
I say, lads, I'm undefeated myself. That's right.
Yeah, we should all be listening to
I'll teach you the thing.
Yeah, we'll speak after the
So when you say your main goal is to get back to the UFC, is it just the UFC or is it sort of MMA in general? Is there any other promotions you'd be into? Because I know the PFL are doing some interesting things.
My friend Brendan Loughline's fighting this Friday. He won the tournament last year for the $1 million.
Yeah, he was at the Grand Prix.
Yeah, the Grand Prix. So that's a different dynamic. That's really hard, to be honest with you. You fight, I think, every 4 weeks. You've got to cut weight every
season,
it's tough. I would do it, but it's just that thing of being a UFC champion. You know, as you say, you can sit there and tell your grandkids.
It's got that extra bit of weight to it.
It's just got everything. So if you ask every kid now, if you go around every gym now and ask every kid what they want to be, I don't want to be sound disrespectful because obviously but they're all going to say they want to be a UFC.
Yeah, of course.
And
a lot of, you call it UFC, don't call it MMA. Like, oh, do you UFC fight?
People who haven't got a knowledge of the sport.
A lot of them, like my granddad's been around me now all my life, and he still goes, you know, the UFC. I go, Grandad, it's MMA. No, the UFC. I put me bets on. It's like that's as you say, because UFC is amazing, but it's still not there like boxing.
Yeah,
it will get there, but it's going to take a hell of a lot of time.
Do you know, I feel like more people are talking about the UFC than they are boxing.
Nowadays, they definitely
are. But your general, like, even as I say to you about TV deals and stuff like that, that's why there's more money, because Dana's got the whole control of that, like, umbrella, whereas different TV people can come in and they can outbid Eddie Hearn, outbid Bob Adams, stuff like that. So boxing's still got that power of, like,
the promoters play a bigger part in
money.
Boxing as well.
Eddie Hearn plays a massive part in boxing. And that's ultimately why it's probably just still not so much, but still a little bit more.
But it's got fucking years on it as well, though, so that's why it's been able to get to that point.
Queensberry came out in 1920s, so it's got 80 years on it.
Yeah. It's a more evolved sport, and I think men's and women's footy. It's
don't get him started on that. Joey Barton.
Joey Barton
will pop through that. I guarantee pop through that door.
Fly through the sun. No, but I was having...
With two bird plays and headlock like that. Wow.
I was having a conversation the other week about, like, the difference between the men's and the women's footy, and it's like, the reason there's not as much money in women's footy at the minute is because it's not as good. But it's because it's not at the same time that the men's games are.
Listen, every girl in Liverpool now, when Liverpool won the Champions League, or when, you know, I used to be a massive footy fan, not so much these days, but they all watch Liverpool winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
No woman go and watch the girls winning whatever cup it may be. No one cares about girls' footy.
Bring that mic a little bit closer, sorry.
No one cares about girls' footy. Even in the UFC, there's only certain fighters, and in boxing you've got your Katie Taylor. Other than Katie Taylor now, could you just name me another girl boxer, you know what I mean? There's Tasha Jonas, obviously, great from Liverpool, but no, girls' sports just...
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's because girls aren't going out watching sports, generally speaking.
No,
like,
there's
no male dominant fan base.
No, there's a sport that the girls do that's actually really good. Have you seen the one where they have to bend over and get their ass slapped?
No, have you seen the one?
Have you not seen that one? It's a full-on sport.
Imagine that power slap thing, but it's just big.
But we get their ass slapped.
I never know yours fucking search history's like.
Spoil your hand.
Yeah, it's just women's sport, just...
It's revenue in it. It's all about business.
It's all about
So like I wanted to talk about a few of your fights in the UFC as well. Obviously, like I know because like I know you've got plans to go back, but like your initial stint in the UFC, like it's sort of like there was from like year to year, it was like it was almost like night and day, and like I think like you'll obviously have a better knowledge of it than I will, but it started a little bit with the fight against Masvidal, because I think that surprised loads of people as well.
To be fair, surprised me as well.
Because it was like after the Woodley fight, after like it seemed like Masvidal hadn't fought for years. He was coming back. It seemed like it was not like a layup fight for you, but it was like a bit of a tune up. Do you know what I mean? And then like up until that like one fucking that one moment, you were comfortably winning the fight as well. And then after that, I know people will obviously always talk about like the losses anyone has more. It's always the case, but like the level of competition you were fighting was whether it was between welterweight or middleweight, it was the best in
find the best in the world.
Yeah, of course, that's what happens when, especially UFC, because there's so many ways to lose as well. Like in boxing, there's how many ways can you lose, you know, points, knockout. Whereas MMA, I could name you a million ways to lose now. So it's like, when you're at that top line, that lineage of like top 5, top 10, just getting to the UFC's hard enough.
100%,
fucking getting that call and that contract is like, that's hard enough, and then like you've got to step back then and go, fucking hell, now I need to make the top 50, the top 30, then I need to make the top 20, and then the top 10, now the top 5, fucking hell, they've all fought for the title. It's sort of like, when you're in that top 5, especially, you know, when I was, there's no easy fight. You can't go up to Dana and say,
no, you can't.
Is there an easy fight to you, Dana?
Any little tune-ups.
Get some bagging off the street, like
But yeah, it's like, I have to give Masvidal his props. He come in the fight. You know, I think up until he knocked me out, I was comfortably winning.
Did you knock him down in the first round?
Come out the first punch, knocked him down. Had him in trouble. I think at that point as well, after the Woodley fight, I don't feel like, obviously, I'm never going to take away the win from him, but I don't feel like I was fighting at like me correct weight either. I was like, I was draining myself so much to fight at welterweight. It was like, it was draining. At that point, I was like, this ain't my weight, you know. And then obviously, when he beat me, it was sort of, as you say, a shock to everyone. It was like, right, I need to go up. Now, I actually remember having a call with Dana like 2-3 weeks after, and I was like, Dana, I need to go up. And he was like, no, we can get you back at the title. I was like, Dana, I can't make the weight no more. I'm like, I'm walking around, I can't eat a thing because I've got to stay at this like regulated weight, which was welterweight.
That has an impact on your mental as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it has an impact on everything. Like, you know, as you say, you're constantly having to worry about what your intake is, your food intake, and it's not good for the fucking brain.
Yeah, you've got a big frame as well, so that's
fucking
a
huge,
big cut in it.
So it was 170, I'm like 225 pounds right now.
Is that your walk around, mate?
I'm about 225 now,
so you're cutting 50
like,
to 55
and this is me just
pounds.
like training twice a day, eating normal, like.
It makes you wonder how people like, because I know fucking Khabib nearly died a few times.
Khabib's probably bigger than me.
And he was cutting to 55.
Yeah, Khabib is, I've never, because he used to fight at lightweight. I don't know, I used to say to like people in the PI, and I say, how's that man made weight? Like, his neck, his head, his neck, like, but he's not like muscular, he's just like,
he's just dense.
Thick,
Like,
just like, I used to think, how do you make lightweight? But them Russians, the way they cut weight, like when I used to be here with Kamzat and he'd be cutting weight, I'd be like, these are nutters.
They're crazy, lad. They cut weight until like physically like, can't anymore.
They're eating potato soup fucking fight week, like carbs, and then they're just cutting weight. I'm like, how? Like, how? I'm living on bottles of water, like, how are you doing it? Just a different side of the world, isn't it? The way they do it. Just
what was it like going out and training at All Stars with the Hamzat and that? Because how did that come about? Because it just seemed like, there was, I remember seeing a few things, like, there was very, like, I mean, I wouldn't say there was talks, there's people rumouring, like, you know, potentially matching you up, and then next minute you were boys.
We were half beefing after I fought Whittaker. I think he fought on, because I was main event on Fight Island with Whittaker, and then I think he'd fought some, what's the Irish guy's name? I don't want to forget it.
Was it Gerald Merchant?
No, it was the fight before that, John Phillips, Welsh. Sorry, not Ireland, Wales. So then Dana was like, oh, no one wants to accept the fight against Kamzat. So I remember I used to slide into everyone's DMs, I still do it. I was like, what, you think no one wants to fight? He was like, I'll fight you. And he sent me a voice and he was like, what, who the fuck are you talking to? So we ended up having a little bit of back and forth, and then like, we went on a live one day, it was on like an interview live, and he pulled a knife out at me, and I was like, yeah. So yeah.
Can't stab me through a screen then.
So I'm like, what, yeah, let's fight then. So obviously, we're going back and forth, putting posts up about each other. And then company owned now, Block Asset, were like a, crypto / media / NFT back then company, come to me, and they were like, Darren, we want to get Kamzat. He's like the new rising star. And I was like, you're messing with fucking beefing me.
He's just pulled the blade out.
He's like, he's just fucking threatening to stab me. And I was like, can't you just message him? I was like, nah. So I went over a few days and I thought, you know what? He actually seemed all right. Like when I was watching his interview, I thought, I'll message his manager. Me and his manager now actually really, really close. And so I emailed him his email was on Twitter. I went on Twitter, emailed him. I was like, listen, mad on this, but like, any chance of like, having a little chat with you, coming over to All Stars? He was like, yeah, come over, I'll sort your flights no matter what, this, that, the other. So, sweet. So gets there that night, like a week later.
Put your stab proof on.
Yeah, I got the stab. I'm thinking, this could go off here, because I know Kamzat's not the most normal guy. He's a million balls, so I'm thinking, Sound, it is what it is. So I've got me 2 mates with me. They're like, is this going to go off? I'm like, I don't know. Next minute, meet him. He's sat in some sushi gaff. He's like, looking at me. I'm like, looking at him like, what's happening? He's like, you all right, yeah?
Is that how he said it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Like, you're all right, brother? That's how he says it. So, yeah. So sits down, like, his manager's there, my boys are there. He's got a few of his Russian boys with him. They're all like, that's scam. Thinking, yeah, it's going off. So we order like this big platter of sushi. So at the end as well, like, which I like about people as well, he's like, he's went up and like, got the bill out of his way. So I thought, okay. So then he comes to me, he's like, till listen, we're training that tomorrow. You're up for us? Like, course, lad. So goes in the next day and we punched those out of each other. We was like standing up and I was punching. He took me down, started weighing me in, fucking cut my out. We just looked at each other and just went, boss that one, eh?
Like step with us, we just become best friends.
Exactly what we were like. So I thought, you know what, this guy's sound.
That's us.
One thing led to another. I got the deal done with Block Asset as well, so like he became a Block Asset athlete. I actually got him on board as well with your clothing brand who we work with, you there. So things were going good, and then I remember we were like getting dead closer, and I called my girlfriend back then. I was like, listen, I'm gonna stay for a few. She's like, what? I was like, I'm loving it over here, the training, the people, they proper welcomed me in, all his Russian little, like he'd have like 50 Russians with him all the time.
Yeah.
They loved me. I think they just thought that I was like an English version of him.
Yeah.
So then he come up to me one day and I thought a bit mad. So he was booked to fight Gilbert Burns, remember when he fought Gilbert? And he goes, Till, listen, I've wanted to like ask you something and then, and I'm going to be fighting Gilbert and like, you know, you're striking. Can you come to America with me and like train with me and like, you know, you can imitate? And I went, lad, like say no more. It would be an honour for me. Like, he's like, oh, thank you so much. So that was it. Then Brock Hassett got on to me and said, we need to make a series about this. This is going to be like massive. Like, so we went to Vegas. He was fighting in Jacksonville in Florida. Stayed in Vegas for like 4 weeks. We just had the best time. Like, it was mental.
There's ringing your phones on airplane mode.
The phone got long.
Long couple of weeks this, lad.
And then we went to Jacksonville. Fucking, we rented this big Airbnb mansion with a pool, and that was like, I even messaged him now. I said, lad, I wish we could go back. And then obviously he had that fucking 5-round heart pumping war where like he got knocked down, he got back up. Where we and him was sitting on the cage. I don't know if you've seen that photo of it.
Sick, lad.
It was just absolutely phenomenal. I think from that we just thought, yeah, we're gonna be friends forever. I like the way you are as a guy.
Have you spoke directly to the UFC about like your plans to go back and that? Like, is that something they're aware of, or is that
yeah. They've never really let anyone out the contract. I remember when Nate back then was wanting to get out of his contract. They've never been about that, but I've always really got on really well with them. I've always been straight up with them. I've never really come out in the media and like spoke shit. You know, when a lot of fighters do that.
A few of
Colby used to do it all the time. I used to think, Colby, you're just digging a grave for yourself.
The other promotions, if a fighter was to leave the UFC and go fight somewhere else, has anyone ever gone back? Or once you've burned that bridge, it's burnt like?
It just depends how you burn it. With Dana's like a very stubborn guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I couldn't tell you.
If you've got plans to ever go back, you've got to make some calculated decisions.
I think if you're ever going to go back, I think keep your cards close to your chest. Don't come out chatting shit about Dana. Always, you know, say how much you like him in the UFC and hopefully get back. I mean, if you just leave on bad, like I think Colby at some point or another next year, he's going to leave on bad terms. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to get back. But see me, I've kept it real, so... You know, let's
that's the thing, at the end of the day, you've got to fucking look after yourself, you've got to fucking feed your fucking family and all that, put a roof over your head.
No one's knocking at your door in 10 years paying your rent.
Exactly. But there's no point going out all guns blazing, going out, he's a fat baldy prick, go and have 2 fights there, and then go, what, can I come back now? It's pointless,
that's like people when all these fighters go on Ariel Helwani. Sometimes I've seen them like, oh, Dana said this, and, you know, he didn't pay me this or that, and the UFC shit, I just think Dana was... By the way, Dana sees everything.
Yeah.
Dana's got...
Who watches this? Hey, Dana.
Hello.
What's happening, mate? All right, Baldy. But Dana's got a colleague next to him, and she's showing him everything. Yeah. So I know, because I've heard things where he said stuff where he's seen. I've thought, have you seen that? Like, have you actively searched for that? So I know Dana and like... The UFC, you think about how UFC, they see everything.
Well, at the team, they must have like the amount of people who they've just got, even like their social media team, even though they're just doing the posting for them, they're obviously going to see, or it's all in the same circle,
multi-billion dollars, you've got to think about it. He hasn't got a notepad where he's putting things, what he remembers, he tells someone and they have to jot it down. That's like his personal fucking...
Someone just writing his thoughts down.
So...
Do you get on with him?
Yeah, I do. I think he likes me a lot. Every time I've been in Vegas, he's invited me for dinner. The last time I was with him was me and Kamzat went for dinner with him in the Red Rock Hotel in Vegas.
What's dinner with Dana White like? What does that consist of?
You're just nervous, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, you just, what you say, how you act. Like, it's just, I've always acted myself. I think if I act myself, they all know what I'm like, so sound. But he's he's cutthroat, he's an intense businessman, and he's...
there's no grey area,
there's no...
every interview, he doesn't try and play the game, he's just straight-laced.
If Dana doesn't like you, you will definitely know about it. Like him and Ariel, they've got this ongoing beef. He hates Ariel, I know he hates Ariel. Ariel hates him, but if Dana likes you, you'll know. If he doesn't like you, you'll know. And even with fighters, if he doesn't like a fighter, he'll give them the hardest fights he can. That's what
he's done it with Ben Askren. As soon as Ben Askren comes to the UFC, his first fight was against Lawler.
And then Damian Maya.
Yeah.
Fucking
horrible
And then Masvidal's knee.
Horrible.
That's Dana in a nutshell. Because Ben was saying he would come over and smash everyone. Dana's like, yeah, you think? And ultimately speaking, Ben should have done better than he did, because in his other promotion, won.
He was undefeated.
And Bellator, he was undefeated.
Yeah, he won the belt in both
His wrestling was
promotions,
he was called Mr. Funky, so good, so funky. And then he come over to UFC and just got absolutely
Do you think he
annihilated.
just got in his head, though?
He did get proper death row of matchups,
He did, yeah.
But that's probably
But
because of the shit that he
He said he could beat him. So.
But it probably got into his head and he was doubting himself then after fucking defeat after defeat. He probably started...
Think of Robbie Fowler fight when Robbie, I don't know if you've seen, Robbie picked him up.
And just dropped him on his head.
Dropped him on it. That's what I mean about, like...
I'm surprised he survived the shots after it as well.
I think he woke him back up.
Yeah, he was definitely out. You could see him. He went limp.
Knocked him out. And as he's knocked out, he's punching him and woke him back up. It was like...
It's
Imagine that
because
being
that
what
big
you wake
fucking
up
motorbike
to, though.
helmet he's got on his head.
Imagine bouncing your head off a canvas, and that's the first thing you see.
When I see it, because one wrong move there, his neck snapping.
Yeah, you're gone, mate.
His
You're
neck
gone.
is snapping, so...
Well, do you know, so you said obviously like the influence of boxing, or like that's something that you'd obviously like, obviously for a payday. I think that's the reason anyone who's a professional fighter in any sort of capacity goes and does it. They're not doing it because they want to test the skills against someone who's a YouTuber. It is a payday.
I think it's just the exposure it gives you as well. Like,
Yeah,
you look now
100%.
at your KSIs and you look at Jake Paul, look at he's fighting Mike Tyson. Like, how is that fucking stuff? And I'd ever got a fight against Mike Tyson.
It's mad, isn't it?
Mike
It is
Tyson's
crazy.
60. He's fucking hooked on that. What's on your fucking He's
Loves it, doesn't he?
loves it. And I'm not hating. He's had a hard life. His daughter died when he was, when she was 4 years old. He speaks about
Mike
it.
Tyson's daughter?
Mike Tyson's daughter.
Oh,
Come off the treadmill and died.
Oh, heavy.
Got whacked, yeah.
Have
So,
you not
like,
seen the interview where he's trying not to cry? Fucking break
They
my
ask
heart,
him,
that.
the interviewer asks him, like, says, so what's been your toughest challenge? Just like you was asking me now when I come out with getting knocked out, and he goes, yeah, when my daughter died, she was falling.
Doesn't really get any worse than that, does it?
The interview just as if to say, I think the interview's over there when he says that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You can see him tearing up.
yeah, he
fucking
tears up. So
horrible.
he's obviously had that type of life. We all know the life he's had. So
Yeah.
he's hooked on that, he's hooked on weed. I'm not hating, but I don't know why Jake Paul's fighting Mike Tyson at 60.
It's just, even though he's 60 and it's like...
He can still move, though.
His name still
He can
carries
still
value.
move, like...
He can't.
The videos of him on the pad still for the
He's
60-year-old
an
man's
animal, lad,
crazy.
don't
But
Like
if you
a
watch
loser.
every clip of the videos, they're only 10 seconds
Oh,
long.
yeah.
He hasn't got more
He hasn't
in
got
him.
the tank.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
fella
okay,
waiting with
okay.
him. But he's
Halo
also,
behind the
like,
camera.
at the end of his career, he had some heavy knockouts as well, didn't he? And, like,
did.
you punched
Well,
drunk and all that
he
song.
wasn't getting direction properly. Like, everyone was taking a piece of him. Everyone was, how much piece can we take of Mike Tyson?
Yeah, do you know he was a
Where it's-
lunatic? They were like, let's jump on the back of his fucking
let's get
coattails.
10 million, 20 million. He's just got out of jail, whatever, blah, blah. So I don't know what's in the contract with him and Jake, but it baffles me.
What are you saying? If you could call
Saying
it.
Jake Paul, obviously.
You reckon, yeah?
He's not
Anyway,
even...
Right.
Do you actually
Really,
rate
yeah.
Jake Paul as a fighter now?
I don't think he's
Because
a bad
at first
boxer.
I was like, oh, he's a knobhead and the fight's are fixed. Then more people are saying, do you know what, he
I
can
don't think
actually
he's a
fight.
bad boxer.
He's not a
I
terrible
think he
boxer,
can
but if you look at the
box,
people
but
who he's
you can
fighting...
still see the amateurists in him. He's him and Tommy was just an absolute shit show. But
And he's not fight. I know he's technically boxed a professional boxer than Tommy Fury, but like as far as professional boxers go, Tommy Fury's not.
the problem with Jake is he wants credibility, but how can you give a man credibility when he's fighting Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
And he's like even fights like the Nate Diaz fight. Like Nate Diaz can box, but when was apart from the shot Nate Diaz landed on Leon. Before that, when was the last time Nate put someone in trouble with his hands?
Sit here and string a sentence together though because
No.
he's that fucked off the weed.
Yeah.
he's that monged out. He couldn't get a full sentence out. Where you see me, I've had a long fight career, but I haven't took as much punishment as your normal fighter should take because I've always been of the thought process and why would you want to get hit?
Yeah, because you've got a life
So
after fighting.
Yeah, I can hold conversations. My brain isn't too much. Do you know what I mean? It's just like Nate Diaz couldn't even sit here and hold a conversation.
No, he's going to be scrambling out to straw for the rest of his life, isn't he?
I see his training physios, he can't get through half a training session. You only have to train 3 times today, still feel okay. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's a big difference between him fighting Nate Diaz and him fighting someone who's as big as him, fresh, young, coming up. Nate Diaz is, what, 38? Like, my actually barber, I got my barber to go over and cut his hair. Like my barber went over and cut his hair. I was like, Dan, I've finally done it. I've made it. He's his biggest fan of Nate. I was like, lad, go for it. And when he come back, I was like, what's he like? He's like, he just sits there all day, every day.
Strong
just
and
like
weird, yeah.
Like, listen, we're all privy to a bit of drugs, but like, there's got to be a line.
Yeah,
and
Difference between using and abusing, innit?
There's using and abusing. Anything, you can't use and abuse train. You can't train 7 times a day.
No,
you can't eat mackies every day. So there's that fine line.
Tell him, lad.
I think he's too far gone.
Fighting Jake Paul next to him.
There's that. Jake Paul wants credibility, but I can't sit here and give him a credibility.
He hasn't, as far as boxing goes, he hasn't had a credible opponent. Like
Tommy was his most credible, and I just say, Tommy hasn't got that flourishing background where you go, wow.
Yeah. I don't think I could name apart from Jake Paul. Just
if he didn't have that surname, he wouldn't even have the fucking pull he's got.
That's the thing. I don't like saying it myself.
No, it's horrible
I like
to say,
Tyson
but
myself, but what is Tommy actually? I only knew Tommy through the celebrity.
Yeah.
So it's.
Have you got a name in mind? Like, is there anybody obviously not even like before, like when you say you dip your toe into like the sort of like the influence of boxing side of it? Have you got? Is there been any discussions?
I think all them who we've spoke about.
I think Jake and Logan and that are the realistic targets.
In one fucking ring, just bang them all at once.
Even sitting here, you can't slate what the numbers they're doing.
What they've done, you can't.
Like the actual.
Imagine someone comes to now go until we've got this pro boxer here, we're going to give you 100 grand. He's 10-0. You'll beat him, but it'll be that fight. Or they go, yeah, fight fucking KSI. He's going to do star jumps for 6 rounds. We'll give you 5 million quid.
He does, Tony.
5 million quid.
Yeah.
We'll give you 5 million quid. Your following will go up. Everyone will be on you. 8 offers. What do you want to do? It's no.
You're not taking.
And any boxer who sat here and said they'd all take it.
I've heard loads of fighters going like, the fucking. This, what's the word I'm looking for? They're making the sport look fucking shit. It's the credibility of the sport going down the pan. And like, because you're not getting asked, that's exactly what it is,
They definitely are, but at the end of the day, they're still offering $5 million. Every man in his dog's
money.
$5 million's a lot of money,
isn't it? $5 million is life-changing.
If you look at it this way as well, like you can say what you want about the actual quality of the fights, but they're putting on events in arenas and they're selling them out. There's some promotions that aren't doing that.
Listen,
One FC are the biggest promotion in Asia, and they don't even fill all the arenas to put shows on it.
I didn't, because that was the first,
Which one was that?
That was the Tommy KSI one.
Okay.
I hadn't been to an influencer one before. That for me was like where I seen where they had like these glow sticks. Has anyone ever been to Coldplay?
Yeah.
That was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. They get like the glow sticks out. That's what it was like when KSI come out, and I was looking around and I thought,
it's mad what they've managed to do as well, and especially in a relatively short space of time.
From just sitting in the bedroom chatting shit to a camera.
Well, that's how they all started. I remember KSI years ago when I was in London. They'd made me do a face-off with him, and the other fat guy who does it down there, what's his name?
Bazinga.
Something like that, And
I go just a fat Bazinga.
Have you seen him now? He's lost loads of weight.
That was years ago, and I was like, who's these? And he was like, yeah, he sits fucking doing what did he do? Streaming. And I look at him, he's fighting, he's doing this. As I say, I'm not a hater.
It's a shrewd businessman.
It's just mad how the things cross over as well, because they've obviously got to a certain point where like you see it with celebrities in America, like actors or like a singer. They get to a certain level of celebrity, and it's like someone who's been a singer their whole life in films, and then they start the Netflix series.
Well, look at The Rock isn't the best actor, is he? But he's the most highest grossing actor in LA because in Hollywood, because of his background. He's fucking terrible, actually.
Once you've got a certain level of fame or like a certain following, you can
do what you want,
pretty much just do what you want, and people are gonna turn up.
What you know, I swear.
So, do you know, I Block Asset. How did you get onto that? Did you start that, or did someone approach it, or what was that about?
But it was a mad series of events. It was when I was fighting in Vegas, and one of the guys who used to work in Mansion, in Liverpool, Mansion nightclub, he used to always look after me. We weren't friends. This is like more than 10 years ago. Then we slowly became like friends, like just as you do. Yeah. So on me a bit, then he went to work in Zen with the new partners when they opened that and this and whatever. And he texted me one day, he said, Till, this was back, I don't know if you know anything about like NFTs,
yeah.
Like
Fuck, I'd lost my age at all with them.
Jesus.
Fucking so am I. This was back when NFTs were really at the height of the thing. And he texted me, he said, Till, I've got a group of lads here. They're forming this thing together, whatever, crypto. I didn't know a thing about it back then. The only thing I knew about it back then was LeBron James sold an NFT for like 1.4 million. That was like the first one I'd seen on Twitter. So I thought, what's this? You know, when you see something new, you think. So they come to me. I was in my uncle's at the time. I was in Camp Life. And I said, go ahead, come down. I said, have a meeting with me. I have meetings every week and people throw shit. And I say, no, yes, no. So I said, come down, let's see what we can speak about. So they come down. We were all squashed on this one couch having like sort of this fucking big business meeting.
Like
that picture of all the Dagestanis in the back.
So we were talking. Obviously, I'm listening to him, and I always bring me mate along who always he'll say if he thinks it's good or not, or this, that. So we're listening, and I thought, okay. So I said, listen, give me a few days to think about it. So they went away, and my mate said, what they were offering me at the time, they wanted to do like an NFT collection with me. Like say, Till, we'll do an NFT gorilla collection.
They done it with you and Hamzat in the end?
Yeah, they done it with us, but that was when I'm like a founder, owner of the company. Whereas back then, I was not, and it was just them coming to me, we want to do an NFT collection. And I thought, do you know what? I don't want more money out of these. I want to make this, I want to go into business with them. So went back to them, I said, I'm not interested. I said, I want a piece of the company. They're like, okay. I said, do you want to know what I bring? They're like, what? I said, well, go through my contacts list there, look who I've got in it from the UFC. I said, there's Dana's number there, there's Leon's number, so there's Adesanya's number, so there's everyone's number. I said, that's what I bring, contacts, not networking. I said, I've got a good name in the fighting world. I said, you know, everyone who knows me, I said, I've got, you know, good standing name. I said, so I want in. They're like, okay, go away, come back, go away. So it ended up like the 5 or 6s of it at the start. We brought Rooney in. Rooney's actually a small fan.
Yeah, remember you done that in, was it Times Square, was it? When you had the NFTs on the thing,
Muhammad Ali, Alexander Ovechkin, Jonah Lomu. We done like a big NFT Legends collection. But as I say, this was back when it was booming. Now
it's fucking dead on his ass.
It's like crypto done the same now, especially over lockdown. Everyone was on it.
It's going up a little bit now, but like...
It's funny, the UFC brought them out and I got a Kamzat card and it was fucking made up because it was when he was on. And
I got a few myself and then
fucking
just dipped.
So bad.
It was just a bit of a phase,
man. That crypto, just that phase of crypto where
and it's mad because they could all control their own markets, realistically, couldn't they? So as soon as it went out of fucking fashion, basically,
it's gone out of fashion. As I say, I think crypto probably make that little spike next year.
I think crypto will always be there because you've got things like obviously Bitcoin's always going to be there, but you've got things like Ethereum.
There's a lad I used to work with, right? He's older than me, and he loves like investing in things, right? And his things, watches. He loves watches. And about 14 years ago, he was sat on a few quid in his bank, and he was like, right, do we go into Bitcoin or do we get this watch? And he was nodding over it for ages, right? He went, fuck it, I'll go into the watch, crypto, I don't know anything about it, it's probably going to collapse. He went and got the watch. The watch is probably about 4 or 5 grand profit. He said if I bought the same in Bitcoin, he said I probably have about 1.9 million. He said, look, where's the
feel sick for him.
So what is Block Asset? Is it a coin? Is it?
Now we've got the Block Asset coin. Actually, the other week it made a little spike. We were at like 13 cents. It went to like 22 cents.
Wow. For one coin, that's a good jump.
That's a good jump. I was texting all the partners, I was going, please go to $1, please. Skin, please. Like that was that back then. So then obviously we went into business. Obviously I gave me whole contacts list. I said, go nuts. Message whoever. Who do you want me to get on? So we done one with Leon straight away, got him on board. Then we got Kamzat, then we got everyone. Then I said, you know what we need to do? I said, we need to partner with the UFC and listen, we're very close.
It's a long legacy, lad.
Yeah, 300.
Sat the UFC 300. So listen, we're there, and that goes back to things. It's not what, you know, it's who, you know, we done that NFTs drop, we made fucking millions, and then the next day crypto went meow. I was thinking, have we got any money now? So we got nothing. But it's been
I'm just in the social getting a crisis phone now, lad. Phone you back in a minute.
So, but we're there now. We've got fucking pure. We were filming with Cody on the weekend. We're trying to get Ilya Topuria, but that's a hard one. He's fucking he's a superstar now.
It's about having the right team around you, innit? Because you have these bad times where you do lose the money and all that, but you've fucking got the right team around you.
After
You'll
fighting
climb
as
again.
well, it's not about being what you make now. You've got to have that passive income for when you stop. Like I know in 6 or 7 years I'm done with fighting. I'm probably gonna always be involved because I love training. I love being
You'd end up punditing with Bisping on CNT.
I'm probably never gonna do that. There's probably a reason behind why I don't want to do that. I just want to open a gym and I just want to do exactly how I done it.
What is the reason you wouldn't go into the pundit? No, because I think, to be honest, like especially like even on like even on the media days back in the day, like, you know, like
climb out loud.
You had a bit of a way like on the mic. Is there a reason? Like what is the reason?
There's a massive reason.
Go on.
Because I don't like to conform with the laws of like society, and I don't like the way TV is, and I don't like the way
that's
you
fair
can't
enough.
say this and that. I don't want to be that guy, because Bisping's a proper close friend of mine, but Bisping has to watch what he says. And if he says something like he said the other week, something about being gay, he gets absolutely slaughtered.
It's mad, isn't
it? Or the Joey Barton things, for example, where you can say this and say that. So, like, for me, it's just not for me. I don't want to be
anymore, is
it?
If I'm going to say it, I just don't want to be a fucking divvy.
I
think it's like, as you say, you can say whatever you want on this podcast, but there's been podcasts or things where I've went to and they've said, can you watch this? And I go, no. Like BT Sport, it used to be a regular thing with them. They'd say to me, Till, I'd be like, I don't care. Or they're going to fine you. I said, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not watching what I say.
Come your walking on thin ice all the time, know what I mean?
Just as I say, I think the reason why people are like me is because I say what I think and I think what I say.
Exactly.
Don't ever want to be that thing where it's on mic. Like, look at Joe Rogan on his podcast. He's probably the only guy who's uncancelable. They tried to cancel him.
He's built his platform that big.
He's just built it that big. He's too powerful. But you see it even when he's on mic with the UFC, you know, where doing the introduction, he has to watch what he says. You can see him. It's like, it's coming out and he goes,
it's fucking like that.
I suppose though, doing the commentary, like imagine you're in the commentary booth for like, let's say 300 or like that at the Leon Usman fight with that like the Holloway thing last second, the Leon thing like last fucking minute or so of the fight. Like, I think if I was cage side and I had a microphone in my hand, it'd be impossible to watch. And then you wouldn't even be able to enjoy the moment then, because you're having to pull... You're having to pull yourself back out of it then, and you're not enjoying the moment.
DC's proper friends with Gaethje, because he was
he
nearly
looked wounded, didn't he? But he was still sitting there going, wow.
He has to. Lots of great knockouts.
What does that canvas taste like?
That was heavy. You couldn't even look. You see it on the commentators.
You just have to conform with the ways of the way it is, innit?
Yeah, you've got to become a
that's
company,
what probably
man,
one good thing about Dana. Dana doesn't let anyone. He doesn't say you can do this or
Well,
that.
was it the English fighter, I can't remember his name now, he was commentating, and he commentated on one of the referees, saying the referee should have stepped in there. Dan Hardy was with it, and he was like, listen, you're not going to fucking work for me, and don't ever call any of my staff out and all that.
Yeah, I think that was it, but like, there was an LGBT, what the hell they call it? Don't know what the name is, but he turned up to the press conference the other week with Sean Strickland, and maybe not the guy you want to laugh.
That's not the man, is it? That's not the man.
Yeah, he asked something and Sean just went off on him, and then someone said, to Dana, what are you going to do about this? And Dana, nothing. My fighters can say whatever the fuck they want. Exactly. So you'd have to give Dana props for that, but the way the world's going, it's not going in the right direction, if I say.
I reckon it'll just fucking fall off soon, you know. I think it's getting to a point where it's at a peak where everyone's getting offended. Now I think people are just like,
well, I think realistically as well, from the telly networks point of view, like whether you're Sky Sports, TNT Sports or anything, like at the end of the day, your primary goal is still to make money. And I think if you keep forcing these like narratives onto people which people don't necessarily care about or they don't want to follow, people will eventually stop watching, and they'll start losing money, and then they'll have to then go back.
But you look at like Instagram now, you cannot say nothing derogatory on Instagram now. Like I have trolls on the daily.
I try as well.
Where's YouTube and everything? We don't get paid.
Exactly. But then look at Twitter. Elon's made Twitter completely unnatural.
See some horrible things on that
heavy stuff on there, but
it's heavy. But what do you want? Do you want Insta where you can't say nothing, or do you want Twitter where it's all open? So make that choice. Like as you say, I think TikTok's overtook it all now because it's, you know, But
Same with
Do you know
TikTok,
what,
aren't you?
though?
Fucking
That
not on
TikTok's
TikTok.
horrible. We've had it loads of times where
Yeah, the
like,
video taken out because it said vagina.
we'll post a clip
Yeah.
and like it won't be anything bad at all, but like because you've sworn it, and the thing is with it as well is if someone reports the video, they don't watch through it to go, oh, let's see if someone could report it if it's like sexual harassment, and like
take it down.
there's not someone at
They
TikTok
just
sitting
take it
through
away, yeah.
watching it. As soon as they see the report, they're like, we'll take it down.
Have you seen that, if you know the videos of the birds breastfeeding, they're all fake babies. Have you seen that? So they're using fake babies to get the tits out on like TikTok, and that's a breastfeed.
Just to get the tits out.
Yeah,
yeah,
because they're not allowed to get the nellies out sexually. Because so by doing breastfeeding, it's natural, but they're all dolls.
It's like that. Talk to me.
Don't know why I was watching the babies.
Fuck off, lad.
No, it was on Joe Rogan today. He was talking about it.
It's mad.
I don't watch
just
tits
think-
on Instagram, babe.
I think the way everything's going now though as well. It's like, but then I think sort of you're probably in one of the very few spaces left where that sort of stuff's not gonna wash, because it's not like you're particularly in a position where you need to be this politically correct like role
fighters
model.
aren't really.
You're punching people's heads in.
Yeah.
The people are gonna, if people tune in and watch a UFC event, they're gonna see much worse than someone getting called gay.
You can't really chat to fighters about not being able to swear and stuff like that. Whereas, as you say, if it's if you look how footy players act, they can't say a fucking thing. They
No,
can't
they
do
can't.
anything. They're not allowed to.
And they're
go
all
on-
talking like that on the camera, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're not
it
allowed
is.
to go on a night out. They're not allowed to be seen doing this or doing that. God forbid any scandal with women. Whereas MMA fighters are just running wild. Just Sean Strickland's on a bike in his undies with a gun in his hot. You know, it's like.
Do you know what? Have you ever had any dealings with him? Like, I'm
interactions.
assuming you've met him, or have you ever really?
Nah, you know what it is? For me as well, this is how I'll get on with people. I like when you just what I see is what I get. Like with him, he is just totally that. Like we trained together for like 4 weeks when Kamzat was in camp in Vegas. Just got along well with him. He is what you see. There's no like camera. Whereas there's been fighters have been around in the past and I've thought, you're playing up for the cameras.
Yeah.
I don't like
you.
it. I just don't like it. I just don't know why people do it.
I think it's so obvious as well when you can spot
That's what I
somebody
said.
doing it.
It's
like
very
it's so
obvious when someone
transparent,
does
innit?
it. Like they just want we all look at me. Oh, everyone, I'm this, I'm that. Whereas with Sean, he just is what he is, and that's why if you go on his views now on YouTube, someone was showing me he's more viewed than Sean O'Malley. He's more viewed than anyone.
That's
So,
mad.
because Sean, again, I like him, but again, I think...
Is this O'Malley or Strickland?
Sean O'Malley, yeah. I think he's a fucking phenomenal
He's jumped
fighter.
on that sort of giveaway video trend now, anywhere he's going round giving people like laptops and grands in the streets and all that.
He's just got red hair. He's let another man fuck his wife. He's just...
That's weird, isn't it? Yeah, so
Not for me.
he's in an
Not for
open
me, lad.
relationship with...
Cuckold and all that.
So the thing...
He's sitting there cutting his braids in while his
So
bear's shooting a fella
the
off.
thing with it was because he was like, because he was in the UFC, he was making all this dough. He basically said to his missus, look, like I'm still gonna go and shag whoever I want. Like there's nothing really you can do about it. But
You can do the
but
same.
if you stick about, we're both till. But then he said
Darren.
to her at first, oh no, you can't. And then he said in an interview, she started getting dead jealous. And then I could have got
Imagine
this bit
coming
wrong.
home after a fucking 12-week fight camp and staring another fella's porridge.
I thought that was Ian Gary, wasn't it? Or is that just a piss take?
So
Ian was a different
it
story,
is
yeah.
a piss take, but it's defo not. Because I've been mad. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of Ian's. Me and him, both undefeated mixed martial artists. We've got a lot in common. But like, so basically...
I feel like his beard gets a lot of stick though, but I
Nah,
don't
she's
know
horrible,
much.
lad.
I
She
don't
is
know much
horrible.
about it on me.
I think it's a sensitive... I know as a bird, she used to come like interview years ago. She was
Is that
like,
what she was? Was she like an interviewer?
She was
She
like
was
an
in the
interview-
footy as well.
Yeah, she was in the footy. She used to do a lot with like Neymar and stuff. You listen, do you know what? I can't say about the bad word against her. She's always been very nice and polite to me, but the whole Ian thing, as I said, I actually like Ian. I think he's a fucking stiff fighter. I think he plays up for the cameras a little bit.
Yeah.
I do. I don't
course he
think
does.
what you see with him is what you get. He probably watched this and go, "Till you're a prick." It is what it
Well,
is, mate. But
he's been in a lot of different
I'll bang
gyms,
it.
and
He's
like,
been in a lot of-
there's been other fighters who have said like he's constantly got his camera rolling
yeah,
in the gym
it's just
and that,
listen.
and
As
it's
I
not the place
say,
for it.
I can't hate him because he's never done nothing
Yeah,
personally.
no, of course.
But when you're watching and you just, as you say, you see like that whole thing when he put Jeff Neal. Don't know if you remember on
Yeah,
his
saying
t-shirt.
it
was a mugshot of Jeff Neal when
He
Jeff
got him in
Neal
a
went to
custody
jail.
battle with his kids though, didn't he?
Yeah,
after
so
all
he
that?
done that, and then obviously when it all come about when Strickland went at Ian hard, Ian sort of like turned his comments off, and that's like, mate,
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
You can't
you
give
don't
it.
give it in there.
I've given it for the longest time. I've always
Take
had to
it.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You give it, you've got to take it. So that when he done that, I thought, ooh, and then he started doing like interviews and that, and I thought, you're playing up a little bit here.
Yeah,
think he's a great fighter, like.
The story with his missus, so basically, when they got married, she didn't take his surname, he like double-barreled their surnames. So his surname's Machado, she's like half Brazilian.
Yeah.
So his name's now Ian Machado.
But she's already got a big
he
personality.
double-barreled
That
name?
was her ex-husband's second name, Machado.
So he's
So
okay, yeah, that's a bit,
she's
yeah.
made
And
him
then-
double barrel
What a
her
guy.
ex-husband's
What a
name.
guy.
and then
What a guy.
wasn't her ex-husband,
What, so
it's
that's
now
his-
it's now Ian Gary's nutritionist as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
stays
Alright,
with
that's
him
a
and
bit-
that, it's nuts, lad.
I've heard they all, I don't know, someone's like,
They all get in the bath
They're
together and
in a
that.
throuble.
they were living together, I don't know.
Crazy,
No, that's
that,
crazy.
innit?
Mad,
It's
that,
mad,
man.
lad,
He
innit?
definitely punched me head in, but he's a bit cookie, like.
Listen,
She's making noises she's never made
he's
with
a
you and
fucking great
everything.
fighter, and as I said about Sean O'Malley, but you ain't no man to me if you let someone else fuck you.
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't
bit
know if
crazy.
Ian Gary defo did, but
No, he doesn't let that. That's not him. I mean, that's
that I'm
Sean.
aware
But
of.
again, with Ian, like, whether it's true or it's not, you were giving it to everyone, so take it. Like,
Yeah,
Conor
Gotti
McGregor,
wasn't,
mate, he gives it, but he takes it.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing
He
is as
doesn't
well,
give a
is
shit.
like, it's a...
What you see is what you get. No
Yeah.
fucks given. And then when you see him play nicey nice with Putty, like, hang on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when it was weird.
Like
then
me
the
now on
next-
Twitter, if I just started being nice every day, you go, that's
Totally
not
do
it.
it.
Yeah,
That's not
strange,
Till.
yeah. It'd be
Till's
weird.
being fake.
You'd
So
think fucking Ali Abdelaziz has got your Twitter manager.
yeah. Someone's got it because it's not me, and I'm never gonna change. So if you ever see me being nice, it's not me. Because I hate the world and I hate everyone in it, and that's just all it is to
It's a
it.
good way of
At
looking
least
at
you're
stuff,
honest
though,
with
lad,
it, though,
yeah. Good way
I'm
of
honest
looking
with
at
it.
So yeah, let's say, have you got like, you're 31 now.
31.
Have you got like a number like age-wise in your head when ideally you'd like to return to the UFC by?
Yeah, I think 33, 34, and then do 2 solid years there. I think that the ultimate goal now, make a lot of money in the
At
boxing.
85.
What?
At 85.
185 is my weight, yeah.
So,
yeah.
have you got like, because obviously I know obviously between now and then the top fucking 15, top 10 is going
It's
to
always
look
gonna
completely
change, yeah.
different. But
What's
if you, like,
85, that welterweight?
185
Middleweight.
Middleweight,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So like, would you have like, say you went back and have you got like an ideal? I know it probably won't play out exactly as you want it, like opponent wise, but if you could pick, say, like a few opponents to get you to a title fight, have you got anybody in mind?
I think if I could make my name even bigger now outside doing the box and get a lot of money, and then speak today and say, look, Dana, I want to come back. You know, you promised me one last hurrah. You know, how can we make this happen? You know, I'm still a big draw. Let's get me 2 fights and a title fight just to get the title. Say, I've done it. It was one of the best ever. There you go. I'm done.
Yeah.
From Liverpool, I've done it. So I think that's how I'd like to play it. Dana and Hunter, who's his partner, you know, who's the big dog, have always promised it to me. So if I keep everything the way it's going now, I do this boxing influencer thing. I have a few pro fights. Obviously, you know, make a lot of money, which is good, and then make a lot of good fights. I think I can do it. I think I'm still young.
I
You know,
think
if I was 33, 34, I'd go,
Yeah.
I think longevity wise though, because obviously you've had a few years out as well, you've not like approaching your 30s, going into your 30s, you're having took a lot of damage in the years
and
leading
you have
up
to
to
look
like
after your
your
body. As I
athletic
said to
prime
you,
as
like,
well.
Nate, in my eyes, Nate Diaz, you know, I like him as a guy in a fight, but he's not looking after his body. He's like, I see interviews with him, he can't string a sentence together, he doesn't look okay. Same for Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? It's like, obviously Mike's a lot older, he's done with fighting, but it's like, I think outside of the sport, and listen, no one likes to party more than me. I love a fucking party. I go 3 days, no problem. But
Used to see you in Santa Gepitos every morning, like.
You did before you were skinny, you can't go now.
but like, where's that line of like, this is enough, this isn't enough?
Yeah.
So we've actually got a group there, you'll have to put this out there, Wonky Wednesdays. It's our little firm of fucking lads, and they're nutty little
Wonky Wednesdays.
You said invited, but like, where's that line of like, where, okay, hang on, I'm smoking too much weed here.
Yeah.
I'm doing too much of this, I'm doing too much of that.
Yeah.
Like, there's gotta be that
Self-discipline, though.
Self-discipline, yeah. It's like, right, I've got to fight now in 12 weeks, right? No messing about diet, plan, bed early, because all them small factors feed into how the fight's going to go. Imagine you're going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're waking up and you're eating shit. And, you know, you're halfway through training session, you're going,
Go out for the birthday.
yeah, exactly. So, and fighters do that. Listen, I know listen, he's the best fighter ever to live on the planet, ever, no matter what, John Jones. But he doesn't live like a fighter should.
Terrible guy, isn't he? He's a terrible guy. He's the best ever, but he's a terrible man.
The best ever. I don't think anyone will even ever come close to how good he actually is. It's actually
crazy,
scary.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's been about for so long as well.
I was going to say, if he was more disciplined, do you think he could be even better?
No.
Or do you think
I think he'd always be
There's
just
some
as
guys. There's some guys who that works for, and there's some guys who it doesn't. Like Stephen Thompson, who won the WI for.
Yeah.
My favourite fighter of all time.
He's like disciplined,
To the
up at 9,
degree,
he teaches kids jiu-jitsu, he goes to church, that's him. John Jones, no, up at 9, Lana Charlie, fucking...
Banged his bed.
Yeah, batters his bed.
Bonnet's a pregnant
He's
woman.
even said it in interviews, they've said, like, are you a good guy trying to be bad or a bad guy trying to be good? And he said, I'm a bad guy trying to be good.
At least he owns it. It's all about being organic then, isn't it, as
You
say?
need that middle ground though. Yeah, everyone's got the poison. You know what I mean? Like,
who am I to chat though, mate? He's the best ever.
Yeah.
I could not sit here and say, John, you need to do this, because he'd just look at me and go,
Yeah.
like, who are you? I don't think anyone should be able to chat to him. His level of competition he fought at the best time, like all them fighters, the people, even when he just come back now and just made a mockery of fucking Cyril Gane, it's just like...
Yeah. Well, the thing is that everyone's on about, like, especially in like the earlier days of his career, like he got done for PEDs and that, but people forget, like, back then, so was everyone else.
Yeah, of course.
It was before you
Anderson
said that
Silva.
everyone was juiced
Everyone's
up to the
juiced
last.
because he was
Even
fucking...
you saw that everyone was juiced, like, there's ways and means I've actually found that out after leaving the UFC, and they told me, they like, tell, and I was like, wow, why wasn't I on it?
Get on the HRT.
I had a podcast ages ago in my dining room. It was terrible, and I had a doctor on, and he's a sports doctor. Works for a boxing promotion. I won't say his name because he asked me to take the video down, and he was telling me loads of secrets off air about like fighters who are still fighting now, who are all fucking on the gear and all that. And he said there's ways around it, loopholes around it, going to the doctor, and it's fucking scatty.
The reason it wasn't, the reason why USADA was so hard though, and I obviously, while I was competing in UFC, I never ever took anything like that, but it's because they had that thing in where it was unannounced visits.
Yeah.
So, like,
Turn up at your house at like 3 in the morning.
many times, like,
Imagine turning up to John Jones at 3 in the morning. He's going to bang your house
Batty,
anyway.
I remember many times. I remember when I won my bonus after the Dricus Duplessis fight, my last fight where he beat me. We got the bonus, and I remember before you can get that bonus, you have to obviously pass USADA.
Yeah.
So I was actually organising a night out with my girlfriend. I was like, come on, we're going to go out, boom, we got 50 Gs, we got the... She's like, where are we going? I was like, town. She was like, we're going to go on the Saturday. I was like, we got... And I think I was on the Wednesday, we've obviously got 3 kids. They knocked at like 5 in the morning. Like, and to get in my house, you've got to go through a gate, Tingo, like, they pressing the buzzer, and I'm like, I'm half like a little bit scared at this point. Like, who the fuck's at me?
Someone's
I was like,
coming through my door,
someone's coming. So I'm like, babe, she's like, Darren. So I never used to sleep in the same room because I snore badly. So I'm running down the stairs and I'm looking, I'm seeing like this guy with a black jacket. I'm thinking, nah, what the fuck is this blob, whatever. Yeah. So I pressed the thing. I'm like, who is it? They're like, you saw that. I'm like, oh, mate.
I'm not in.
I'm not in. So obviously comes in. I'm obviously known.
New phone with this.
Goes through the whole rigmarole, blood, piss, you know, they've got to actually even watch it while you piss, because people come prosthetic penises and that they've been known to be caught. Yeah, so watching obviously...
Imagine getting the prosthetic one, it's bigger than your actual dick.
And then obviously it comes back in like 2 weeks results, like, you know, got that, get you checked through for your bonus and stuff like that. But that's probably why USADA was so hard to get around it, because at any point in the day, time or whatever, they'd have every location you should be at, whether it be home, gym, family members, and they could turn up.
They have a private investigator and he's just waiting to try and catch you.
Jeff Nowitzki who found Lance Armstrong, who caught him 7 times.
Really?
He was the guy that caught Lance.
Shit, he come to your house?
Not him. He was like the overall president of the organization. So they brought him in, so it's like you were never getting past that guy.
Soft grass him, lad.
That's what they called him, the Golden Snitch. That's his nickname.
The Golden Snitch. He is so winning.
The Golden Snitch. Caught Lance Armstrong 3 times, and then there was some other guy in the NFL who he was meant to have like fucked the whole draft, like bet thing up because he caught them, and everyone's betting America went for like that guy is the top
top
class.
Every time,
you know. I remember speaking to you when I bumped into you the other week, and do you know what my man?
I don't remember speaking to you. I was seeing 5, 6 of you.
That's to be honest, I remember.
That's scary, that lad. 5 lesbians in front of you.
Shut up.
He was actually speaking to me. He was actually my friend. I actually texted. I said I was coming on time. I said, who's this guy? He's talking podcasts and that to me. He was like, Till. The funny. I was like, so obviously he gave the go, and he was like, I was like, Hardy, yeah, because obviously he knows I fucking hate every man that's done a podcast. There's only a few. I went to Hardy, and then I think the next day I went, lad, when you messaged me, I went, lad, he went, Till, the funny lad. I always watched him. Shout out Sin, shout out John.
Big up,
nice one, lad. We had a clip.
Monkey Wednesday.
We had a clip last year that went quite viral.
Oh, yeah.
Where I phoned me ma and asked me ma what it's like to choose someone off. And you were retweeting and going, who are these dickheads? So I'm phone them out. And I was like, oh, nice one, lad.
We were just made up that you put it on your Twitter. That's hilarious, like.
Listen, any clout's
Full
clout.
right, lad, yeah.
Any press is called press, as it comes out, you're a non-source. I think that's the only bad one.
Depends if you own it.
A non-stand what?
I reckon John Jones will get away with it.
Probably would, yeah.
You stopping them, lad?
No one.
Yeah, I remember we fucking, I only remember very, very small bits of the conversation.
You actually come up to me very nervous as well. I remember you were very nervous.
Nah, no way.
He was like, I'm on the
It's not the story you were telling us, like.
Because I was with a load of me mates, so he went, can you come outside a sec? Like, I went, and that's when me mate...
That's a threat, isn't it?
That's when me mate was like, Till, listen, they're funny.
I remember you flinching at some point. I don't remember why. I think I must have done.
Someone said you were unbeaten.
It was.
He had his fucking key on and everything.
I had his boxing shorts. Yeah.
I'm wrapping my hands outside.
Yeah.
But I remember you were saying, fucking, because obviously, like, we were speaking a little bit about, like, social media and that, and you were saying, like, none of it's, because obviously you've seen behind the curtain a bit more than most people, and you were saying, like, none of it's real. You said, like, you know, I don't know how well you know them, but you know, like, and Andy Tate and Tristan Tate and that, and, like,
Yeah.
even, like, I mean, it's not hard to tell from a mile off, but, like, a lot of what they do as well, it's, like, not that none of it's real, but they've got to have, like, their own selling point, and I think
100%. They've got that, what is it's called, like, the real Tate world. They've got, I think, a Telegram group, like, 100,000 members who pay monthly, like, to get whatever the teachings. I don't know what it is. Listen, I don't give a fuck.
Hustlers University.
Yeah, Hustlers University. But, like, listen, when you speak to Andrew, I was literally... The mad thing is, when he got nicked the other week in Romania again, they were trying to extradite him to the UK. I actually messaged them because a mutual friend of ours was telling me to message him to come to my fight. I said, listen, I said, and when you invite me to Romania, I'll come. And he never got back, and then that night, it obviously come out in the news, and I texted him back saying, fucking hell, I forgot, like, and then he got me back. I was like, Till, listen, whenever you want to come, just let us know the date. But listen, he's fucking sound, but everyone's got to keep up that sort of, you see it now with, like, even in the city, like, I don't know, there's every man and his dog got the camera up to the face telling everyone about how the day went. Like, I'm sorry to say, we just don't care.
No.
You're telling us you've come across this great new supplement in Holland and Barrett. We don't care. You're telling us about your day. We don't care.
just going to get some water from the natural spring at the cathedral. Like, so fresh.
If I weren't, like, I've never considered myself a celebrity. I probably never would. But if I weren't, like, in this position of who I am, I probably wouldn't have social media myself. Because what is the point?
It's poisonous, isn't it?
It's not even that. It's just like everyone now, even to your personal friends, your personal family, is speaking to the camera. What are you speaking about? Who are you speaking to? Like, who are you?
Chinese.
What are you? What are these links you're putting in your bio? Everyone feels like they've got this sense of importance right now, and it's just like, this is for me. This is why I'm probably the guy I am on social media. And probably a lot of people, even in the city, girls and lads, don't like me, but I don't give a shit, because, like, who are you? What are you? Like, what's the point of it all? What are you speaking about? Like, unless I just don't get social media as a whole, especially Instagram. People are putting 1 million stories up. Like, you know, you've got these fucking council mums telling us about the day and this product they've come across. We don't care.
It's not trying to sell me CBD candles or something.
Just all of a sudden become a PT. Like, I seen a guy the other day, he's like, you know, you're drinking and you feel like, yeah, you should be training. I'm thinking to myself, mate, who are you? I love drinking to the point I can't see straight. Like, and then I love training, and I would out-train you 7 days a week. So who are you? And I just see it, and I just think, what is going on?
Do you know what I think it is as well? And I think
this is who we need to fight in the influencer fight.
I think the guy who told me not to drink.
I think you see it a lot in Liverpool as well these days. It's like, it seems like everyone's very, I mean, I'd say everyone, it's obviously not everyone, but, like, a lot of people are very, 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 very insecure, but at the same time, they've got a massive ego as well, and the two don't pair well, because at the same time, like, they probably don't feel good about themselves, and they're probably not very confident, but then they're like, oh, but I've got to tell people about me new fucking...
It's just, and you're saying it's not everyone, but as I've noticed this year, it's actually 90% of everyone. Everyone is literally everyone, even I see on my... I don't follow anyone, to be honest, because I'm so follow me. I don't follow anyone. Oh, why? I just don't give a shit about anyone. I follow when I look at stuff I want to see, and then if I don't see it, I don't see it, and that's why, like, I didn't even know what retweet is you know what I mean? Like, but
we're over it, that's fine.
This social media habit is only going one way, and it's down, and when I say that, I mean it's getting worse. It's not getting better.
No, and I don't think it's good for some things. Like, obviously, like, we get to do shit. Like, I enjoy doing this, and, like, I do stand-up comedy as well.
It's good for you with your block asset, lad. Use it where I get all my UFC news from. So wherever you've got doing your block asset, you need to give them a fucking high five, lad.
Yes, please.
Not a raise, not a pay rise. Just give them a high
Can't afford it.
Fuck a raise. Fucking walk around about it in slippers. There's no raises around here. It's
6 slippers though.
It's
I just think the
it's
social
great for
media
that.
thing,
Yeah,
I
it
think...
is. As you said, you get UFC news. You've obviously got this, which is, you know, you're coming up and it is great for a hell of a lot of things. It's great for me. You know, people don't even know what I'm up to half the time. It's great for me to, boys, I'm still here, I'm training. But then there's that other half of it, as you say, it's like, you know, you're just looking at absolute stuff and it's...
But it
and
brainwashes you as well. I'm really bad for it. So like, I use it for a tool, promote the podcast, promote comedy, but then I sit there and like an hour's gone, 2 hours gone, and I'm just watching
Flicking through your
shit.
phone.
You've been on them reels?
Yeah.
They are funny though.
Listen,
They're dangerous, man.
I
The
remember
comments
at
on them are fucking horrible,
One
lads.
point, about 3 months ago, me and my mate, we were addicted to reels. I
horrible
must have been
that they
sending
get
him
you.
200 a night and he went, Till, you've got to stop sending me. I was in bed. Like, I'm one of them as well. I'll watch a good talking. I was just like, reel. And I was posting reels on me thing, just mad reels. And everyone was like, Till, that's just so random. Why you post? I was like, I don't know. I love it.
I do it. Like, my bird sits on the couch there and I sit on this couch and I'll send my bird like 5 reels and I go, watch what I've sent you. And then I watch her reaction and I have my phone open because I go, she's on this one now, waiting for her reaction. She's going, what are you doing, Gary? And I go, oh yeah, sound it. Weird,
I'm
man.
actually
Like,
worse than
weird.
that. I'm actually that stubborn. If I send someone a reel and they'll reply to me on WhatsApp, I don't reply to the WhatsApp. I think, watch the reel first. You ain't getting a combo. it's real time. Watch the reel.
Watch what I'm saying.
I'm going to unsend it, lad.
Yeah.
Send it to someone else.
Social media is a great thing. It is. It really is a beautiful thing. Look at me for years. I had another Instagram at one before it got deleted, and I swear the whole of lockdown, all I did was just have fun through it. But then, as you say, it's got that dark side.
I just think it's mad because I think it like obviously like it's great for certain things, like, but like I think things like OnlyFans and shit like that would never have appeared if it wasn't like obviously porn already existed because the internet existed. Like wherever you can put it, people will put sex. It's always gonna be there. But
100%.
things like OnlyFans, like that's something which. Like you could compare it in a way to like the way the NFTs boomed and everybody was onto it, but then it's like people invested millions into it and got nothing back. I think you're gonna see a similar thing in years to come where birds who were fucking throwing the box on for about a $5. In 10 years they're gonna look at it and how would let's say it doesn't work out for them they have a kid, they don't recover, and then like how are you gonna go and get a normal job when your box is there for the living?
OnlyFans as well as I've seen like OnlyFans birds, like
I haven't.
lads who
I'm not on them.
I've seen a lot of them. sorry like, I've seen lads who've
Do they accept NFTs, do they?
I've seen lads who've bearded them, what I think.
No.
You couldn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
No.
Have you got no shame? Because I can go and buy your birds, but like,
Yeah.
do you
No
not
chance.
have
He's got a new nickname, Sean O'Malley.
Lads, but other thing as well, kids going to school.
Yeah,
Imagine when you.
Oh, lad, don't.
Well, do you know what,
I've said
right?
so many times,
This is
lad.
old school because I'm a bit older than you, obviously. When I was in school in Card Leaning in year 11, the army come in and set up different stalls on the yard to try and recruit people, right? And there was this big group of lads all around this one little stand, and everyone was like, the fuck's going on over there? So they all went over, and this fucking army fella's showing a video of this bird, like, chewing him off, right? And next minute, you'll see this hand come out the crowd and just slap the phone. It was this kid's sister chewing off the army fella, and everyone in the school seeing it, and I was like, that's just fucking private videos
that's just
when
the
it's
norm,
OnlyFans.
though.
Yeah,
That's
My
gonna be the
it's
norm.
everywhere.
in school, that's all like obviously everyone knows I love trolling. Like, imagine if you were trolling someone and you knew his mum was on.
There's your man.
Yeah,
Game
game over.
You then suicide. Like, that kid's gonna
Kill
Yeah.
himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, lad,
Yeah.
100%.
So
Yeah,
listen,
is your man as a
But
road
it's,
see you later.
it's empowering.
yeah, it is.
Fuck.
They're
it's
not
not
doing it
happening.
for us.
Yeah.
They're doing it for
I
themselves.
seen that Brooke girl who she's like, she went on Piers Morgan. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
She's
the only
that Ellie Brooke. Like,
Ellie Brooke, yeah.
I hate a
She
face, you know.
actually came onto me at Twitter, and I don't know, going back on I absolutely bodied her.
Yeah, see you later.
She tried to give it to me about not having no license. Just put up this big card that went, who's fucking lost his license, you little.
Oh, I remember that.
There was no reply off that. I mean, she got bodied, but again, I don't hate the girl. It's just.
Nah,
see
I
it for what
hate
it all
them.
is.
Do you know
Yeah.
do you know why I hate them, lad? Because there's a few of them now. Every Premier League top 6 club's got some proper ugly little brass attached to it. Lad. And I know they're not employed by the club, but
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I fucking hate the guts.
their main thing. And do you know why I hate them, though? Right?
I'm gonna go one further. I hope they all fucking. Nah, I'm not
I
gonna
know.
I say, I hope you don't get a tumour.
Nah, that's low level. I was gonna say worse than that. I'm not gonna say it. Stop it, Dan.
We can edit it out, lad, to be honest.
I don't do edits. You asked me if there was nothing I wanted to talk about, mate. Leave that for all the
Do you
other
know
fucking
what does me
podcasters.
head? What pisses me off with them is like they know their main audience is kids. they know it is, because it's all those little football Twitter accounts, and they know who they're promoting themselves to. They're not stupid when whether it's a manager doing it or it's them doing it.
100%.
Like, so it's like if I started on OnlyFans and I was fucking, instead of keeping up with the Premier League, I was keeping up with fucking, like, I don't know what little girls watch, because I'm not a paedophile.
Fucking My Little Pony or something.
But like, and I was like, fucking, did you see that episode of fucking of iCarly this week?
But then that comes,
then you're a nonce.
That comes back to the whole, like, the way I'm raising my kids. Look at how kids and that are getting raised nowadays. Like, kids, like, without sounding thingy, kids nowadays, boys and girls, are all just little fannies. They're all just little, they're just offended. They're all, like, I look at kids nowadays and I think,
do you?
You wouldn't have liked... I do, yeah.
You can say that on record.
He's owning it.
I'll always own it. But, like, I think... You wouldn't have survived in my... Even with the girls back in my day...
100%.
Girls were ruthless back in the day.
Ruthless.
My daughter's 14 in a week's time, right? And I said to her the other week, like, oh, you're stupid. And she was like, that's so offensive. You can't say that. I was like, listen, your ma was pregnant in 3 years' time. Your ma was getting fingered in the park in a year and a half. Like, and you're saying you're stupid's offensive. I was like, it's different breed.
How are you bringing up your kids? Now, like, I've got a few friends now, they bring up the lad, they're in the gym, they fucking give them a backhand if they deserve. Like, I know it sounds thingy, but I got 50 backhands off my half while I was a kid, and I'm going to sit here now and tell you, it didn't do me any harm.
Did you ever bang them out?
When I was 15, it sort of got to that point where I was like,
lad.
I'll fuck you now. Calm down. Listen, sit in the corner and fucking shut up now. Mother, you'll get one as well.
I remember me ma bingoed me, right? I got to an age where I was giving me ma pure jib, and I remember our kitchen was quite big and I was making Nutella butties, right? And she was at the sink cleaning where she should be. And I had me back to her. And they're coming for me. And I was giving her loads of shit, right? And she just went quiet. And I was like, that's weird. And next minute, I just got this right hook to the side of the head, lad. I was fucking eating the cupboard, lad. Just wait me in.
I was the same, though. If I was a little dickhead and I was a kid, my ma would slap me.
There's nothing wrong with it. And it's like, I have this argument now, me girl with the kids, like, she brings the kids up, like, girls are a bit different. Like, you got to treat them like principal. We still have that thing, like, if they're getting too far, she goes to me like Darren, and all I have to do is go, hey. And even that sounded like... Dad, like that.
You need a bit of aggression behind it though, because you want your kids to be your best mate, but you also don't want to take it too far away.
But it's respect.
You know what I mean? You want your
kids growing up, as you say, in this world now, because obviously everything is social media based. I'm not on TikTok a lot, but as you see, it's more TikTok where they're just watching shite come through the screen. They're seeing shite, they're watching shite. The role models, as you say, these fucking dopes, whether they're the OnlyFans girls or these other fucking dopes, and it's like my role model when I was a kid was fucking The Rock, John Cena. Roy Keane was my role model, Steven Gerrard. It's like, look at who them guys were and are, and now look at your role models today. So we're growing up in a fanny society, this LGB fucking whatever it is, these OnlyFans tits. Listen, don't get me started, honestly. Just don't get me started, because you'll be editing out everything.
No edit, lad.
There's no edit, say what you want.
No edits around here, mate. I don't answer to no man.
So going back to the fighting just for a little minute there, because I've seen Nathan fucking Masvidal a boxing soon, aren't he?
So they've actually asked me if I want to jump in after that. Masvidal
so
was speaking
that's what I was going to ask you. So obviously, like, you're going to probably want to get one back on him at some point.
Think.
And if you're going into boxing anyway.
I think Masvidal is definitely...
Why you been training 3 times a day?
What?
That why you been training 3 times a day? Getting you come back.
Smart one. No.
He just listens, that's all.
Yeah, that's it, lad, yeah. Pick up on
Masvidal was on Bisping the other week. I don't know if you've ever seen him. I reposted on my Insta, like, he said, listen, you know what would be a great fight would be do Till in England again. He was like, listen, I'd love to come back, and because obviously he beat me, didn't he? He beat me. So if he fights Nate, which I do think they're going to fight, they've just done the press conference now. I don't know if you've seen Nate, he can't fucking sting a sentence.
No, he can't.
So
it's been like that for a while.
It's our ass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our ass. He's him and his brother have actually been through the bridges, the trenches through fighting, so you've got to give things on that.
But I think also he played up to that where it's like, I just come forward and people hit me, and he lived up to that, and that just done him damage, didn't it?
Listen, that's all good and well at 20, 22, 23, but then as you say now, I'm 31, he's 36, 37, it plays toll, it takes effect.
Yeah, the older you get, the more susceptible you are to get fucked as well.
I think Masvidal's going to win that fight. I'm definitely going to be... Listen, I can see myself fighting Masvidal and Perry this year, so... I'll get that. I'll get the Perry one because it's been destined to happen.
Yes. Ever since he asked you for that spar,
ever since we fucking punched holes each other in the hotel. Actually, fucking that was fucking, that's the best
Did you
thing in
end
life.
up sparring him in the hotel?
We just, there was no technique involved.
Just having it?
We just punched holes in each other and then just sort of like looked at each other after. He'd give me a little cut on the eye, I'd split his nose. There was like 3 UFC fighters who were cutting weight, were looking in the corner just like that.
What's going on here?
Because we had a full straightener. Because when he asked me, I was like confused. Did you want spar, steam sauna? And then when he was straightening, I was thinking, lad, you must think I'm some kind of dope. So then obviously, and then after it, we shared an Uber home and everything. And he was like telling me about his life, and I'm thinking,
Must have been the maddest Uber you've ever been in.
yeah, because we both don't like each other, and we're like, we have to conform to society. Like,
Hey, Dan the barber's been busy today.
yeah, but that was that. And then obviously, ever since then, all we've done is shit talk. I actually fucking brought a fucking brand out because of him when that raw dog thing.
one,
Yeah. So
that,
like,
that's heavy, that
it's been destined to happen. As I say, if it doesn't happen, I will be extremely fucking, you know, be gutted. But
How old is he now, do you know?
Perry again, 35.
Yeah, so he's coming off the
yeah,
isn't he?
as I say, I'm sat here, I'm fucking one of the youngest, even though I've been around for a long time. So if you can, you know, if I can make everything happen by I'm 35, 36, then I will be done. I'll be done and out. I don't want to stay around too long and let it all go out of date. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not smart. Mike Tyson, look at him now. Why is he fighting Jake Paul?
But it's good that you've got a plan.
Idea.
Yeah, I've got a plan. As you say, it can always be changed. Because the one thing with fighting, I've seen it. I've even spoke to Tony Belly about this. It can always drag you back in because you always want that. You know, that glory thing. There's nothing better than all eyes on you. You know, the footy players, they win a match, it's 11 people. We've won together. When you win a fight, it's all eyes on you. So I hope that my plan sticks to, but things can change.
Was it ever something like, obviously, because when you went up to middleweight, your first fight was Castellan, weren't it?
Yeah.
When you got the decision, obviously, that was coming off the back of a couple of losses.
Yeah.
What's it like? Because it's in such a, it like, anyone can go and talk all the shit he wants, and you might be on paper the better fighter, but like anything can happen in a fight, especially in an MMA match. Anything can happen in any second of it. Like, what's it like, sort of being? Because obviously, like with the way you presented yourself, especially in the media and that, and then you're coming off a couple of losses. What's it like mentally having to pick yourself back up after that?
Sad.
I wouldn't know myself.
You can lie to anyone. I thought you'd know.
I'm undefeated, lad.
It's hard. I think the hard thing is because I've seen this quote that it's always like stay with the Japanese. They say you have 3 faces. It's like, and you know, it goes like you show your face to like use
this
your
one.
friends, but
No editing.
I say that one face, and this is the one face we all have, is when you go to bed at night and you can't tell yourself no lies.
Yeah.
You know, when you sat there at night, you know, she's gone to sleep, the kids are asleep, and you know,
you're sweating,
the telly's off.
You sad at your door.
You can't lie to yourself. You can't, even if you're a guy who's like, you know, let's say you go out every day and you put this fake persona on. Say you go out every day and you try to act rich. Say you go out every day and I don't know what people do, but overnight, you can't lie to yourself.
No. Can't.
That's so true
So
when you think about it.
When you sat there, it's like, oh, I've been knocked out by Masvidal, or I've had this going on in my personal life, you know. At night, we all think about our own things.
Because I think as well, the difference, it's not like getting up and just going into a fucking, just getting up and going to work, is it? You like, you even before the fight, you're so heavily in the public eye. I think, like, did you ever struggle with confidence coming back from it, or was that not something that come into play?
I think you know what, as I said, you got to keep up appearances when you're like, if you see me on a night out, you know, I'm always fucking going to be fucking rowdy, but imagine you see me on a night out, I couldn't even get up off the floor, and I'm like scrambling it's not a good look.
No,
it's not a good look to see. Like, let's say I seen Stephen Gerrard's my hero, always will be, whatever. Like, I see him most fucking times when he was living in form. Fancy a pint? I'm like, fucking a pint? With you? You're me fucking hero. But it's like, imagine I seen...
one bounce.
I've got a ball. Imagine I seen him scrambling mad, couldn't think.
It ruined you,
That'd ruin me inside. I'd go, wow, that guy, whereas, so that I actually had this conversation with my friend. I said, like, you'll never, ever, no matter what I do or what, you'll never see me like that. You'll never see me fucking, you know what I mean? So it's like, when you're in the eye, sort of, as to say, you've always got to keep up appearances. You've got to walk in a certain way. You've got to look a certain way. You've got to see people a certain way, even if you don't want to. There's plenty of times where I fucking don't want to have a chat with someone, but you've got to have that chat, you know.
Because the camera's on.
Because the camera's on. You're in the sauna, someone's wanting to chat to you. You've got to, because that person ultimately is going to go away with that first impression of you, and then it's going to be like, Till, man, fucking hell, you know. Yeah. Someone could go, oh, I had a chat with Till, what was he like with Tilly? What was he like? I was a little bit like, you know, cold, whatever. But that could be on a bad day. But imagine like someone goes, like, wow, that's
he's not a bad day.
proper bellend.
I would, and you don't know
like,
you don't know how some people look up to you though. Like to some people, you could be their genuine hero.
some
you know what I
people
mean?
have come up to me and said, I've saved a life. Like literally said, Till, if it weren't for you, like the motivator. And I'm like, lad, I'm Darren Till, mate, from County Road. Like, no. And they're like, no, Till, you don't understand. I remember someone got a tattoo of me in Kamsat, and I'm like,
Mad.
It's a bit gay, that though. It's a bit
yeah. Me. So you don't know the impact you're having.
And I wouldn't like to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be that person to make someone think different. If someone was looking up to me in that way, where I was like someone's hero, I wouldn't be wanting
I'm
that
not saying I'm sat here and
sometimes.
I've treated everyone in my life right, because I'm not. I like, you know what I mean. I've got that streak to me where I fucking haven't got much patience, but. Genuinely, when people do come up to me and I don't know them, they want to have that first little chat, hello, goodbye, whatever. You've just got to find something from somewhere, even if you're fucked tired, you've had 20 fucking Jaegers, and just go, yes, mate, what's happening? Be good. Cut it short or not.
Yeah. And I can hold my hands up to that, because I used to see you every weekend in Santa Chapito's, and I've got about 1 million pictures with you.
There you go.
See, he's a good guy.
There you go, just proof. I'm not a piece
He is living proof. You saved his life.
I'm not the piece of shit everyone thinks when I am on
this
Instagram.
tattoo, lads.
It's on his arm. He's trying to get it. He's got a big mole on his arm.
What are we on there, by the way? 130, man.
Chill for a little bit longer if you got the chance.
Yeah.
So, I had a question then I was going to ask you, and I can't even remember now. Yeah, it's fucking, it's gone blank, so we'll just keep chatting shit. It's fucking, so I know I asked sort of similar before, like, if you could pick an ideal opponent to return to the UFC against, who at middleweight.
You didn't ask something similar, you asked the exact same question.
Oh, was it?
I think just because of the back
never.
and forth, and because at the time everyone was talking about the striker match, I'd love to fight Adesanya.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he's phenomenal. I think what he done was phenomenal.
Yeah, he always used to call the title, and then after it was ridiculous.
Because I was that guy, we'd never fought in the division. He'd always call me out about striking because he wanted to put because he's obviously more taekwondo kickboxing, more Muay Thai boxing. I would have loved to see how that had played out. If I could have beat Whittaker, which I was very close to beating, I think it would have been great to get. So that, but I don't know if he's going to be around that long now. I think he's obviously had that knockout with Pereira.
Or
Adesanya.
Yeah.
So he's made a hell of a lot of money. I think he even said he'd come back. He said, but it'd probably be his last hurrah. So I don't know.
It's got to be encouraging to you though as well, because if you go back, I've rewatched the fight you had with Duplessis a few times. It was like.
The only guy who really outstruck him, he battered everyone standing up.
Yeah, so it's got to be encouraging to you.
Yeah, it is. But it motivates you at the same time.
Yeah,
I go,
do
you know, if he'd just clobbered me for 3 rounds, I'd go, okay, till.
Because it was just the second or the third round where
second where I just started piecing them up, yeah. It's like, so I look at that, I've obviously watched it back and took me notes. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Bleed for this?
No.
Listen, go and watch it, please. Vinny Pazienza, he was in a car, he was a boxer, he was in a car crash, snapped his whole spinal cord. He said he'd never walk again.
Shit.
He come back and beat Roberto Duran for the I think it was the junior world title. Listen, it's called Bleed for this. Vinny Pazienza, Robert, Miles, what's his name? Miles Teller.
I'm on it. I haven't seen it, but I know what you're going on about. Yeah.
Please watch it. It's phenomenal. It'll motivate you in what you want to do in life. I actually only watched it last week. So it's the same thing. If I watch that with Duplessis and see the way I'm piecing him up on the feet and he's doing all that, I think, Till, some adjustments, mate, and that,
you got
belt,
it,
that belt's sitting right here. I wonder what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, so, when you get the belt, you'll have to bring it back in.
100%. That's if I come back, I don't know.
Yeah, do it as that
will be media team.
You'll have to find me somewhere in the
I'll just come over here, I'll be buying again, and I'll say hello.
Hiya, mate.
So how will that work then with the UFC? Then will you just get straight? Because I don't really know how much it worked. Because obviously you've had to. Was you in?
Fighter, like, who's
no, I know what I mean. Was you in an organisation before you moved up into the UFC? You know, like people go from cage warriors.
It's just like footy, innit? What you do in footy, you know. Obviously, everyone ultimately wants to make it to the Premier League or wherever they are in
business houses.
But I was ranked number 1 in Brazil when I was living there, so I beat the number 1 in Brazil, and that's when the UFC came knocking. I'm like,
do you reckon that's a kick in the dick for people in Brazil going, he's just some kid from County Road and he's number 1 in Brazil?
I mean, I remember when I actually got there and I actually said to my coach, who's number 1? He was like,
Alex Pereira, I'd be like, nah, leave it.
Wendell Oliveira, his name was, and I actually fought him in my debut in the UFC and knocked him out in the second round with elbows. But I remember when I got there, because obviously when I got there, I was like 19, 20. I was just that kid that I didn't, you know, when you don't care for nothing, you don't care for anything. I was like, okay, who's number one? He was like him. I was like, sound, I will get there. And then obviously the UFC. But the UFC is sort of like, you've got to fight in Cage Warriors, you've got to fight wherever, here, there. And then they will ultimately come calling. They'll look at your record, go, okay, we've got fucking Darren Till there. He's 18-0, 18-2. Yeah, we like his fighting style. Because I remember before they were going to contract Khabib, they never ever wanted to sign Khabib because of his fighting style, because it was sort of like all grappling based. It was a little bit
just suffocate fighters,
stagnant for the fans. But then obviously they got him in, and then that whole thing with Conor was just phenomenal.
Without
that
Conor
was the
being there, probably wouldn't.
This is the thing. Khabib now is one of the most famous Muslims on the face of the planet. He's a superstar. But with that whole without that whole Conor thing, he's not the guy he is.
No,
and if he ever sat there and said that, I'd go, I think you're lying. Because Conor, him and what Conor did for him was, Conor was that guy, wasn't he?
That's the biggest fight of both of the careers, no matter what way you look at it.
It'll probably never ever get surpassed, I don't think.
Do you not reckon?
No.
Do you not reckon there's a star anyway? Cause like, either in or outside the UFC, you could.
But it was 2 countries that they garnered and brought with them.
It wasn't even that. It was just that time. And I'm not really a big believer in God and stuff like that. But
stars aligned.
Everything that happened for Conor when it did happen was just the right time, the right place, the stars aligned. And it will never happen ever again. Ever again. Not even close. Not your Ilia Toporias, not your Sean O'Malley's, your Pereiras, Adesanyas, even Paddy. Now Paddy's a massive star. He will be even bigger. But for what Conor did, from what I see, even that whole thing with Khabib, it'll never get surpassed.
No. What do you think the ceiling is on Topuria? Like, I only really become aware of him properly when he fought Jai Herbert.
When he was having beef with Paddy
and
as well.
he fought Jai Herbert on the same card. I forget who Paddy fought. Was it the same night he fought Jared Gordon?
Yeah, no, fuck. It was in London when him and Paddy had a fight before it, when Paddy threw something at him. And then he fought Jai Herbert in London, knocked him out.
Was that not when Paddy fought Jared Gordon on the same card?
No, Paddy fought... Fuck, that gay lad who twerks, and Paddy twerked over.
I'm on him.
Yeah.
Jordan Levy. Is it Levy? Yeah. Something like that.
It's Jordan Levy, yeah. So obviously that's when I was sort of more aware of Topuria. And now I just, fuck me, man, that guy is a ferocious animal.
He's crazy.
He went to the burnabout, didn't he? And
especially considering he started out just mostly, like, I've watched loads of his earlier fights the other week. I've seen a thread on Twitter, and like his first 7 fights, they were all finishes by submission. He was predominant in jiu-jitsu.
I think where you ask me where the thing stops for him, I don't think it does. I think he's probably now in the UFC. I think he's probably the best in the UFC right now.
He's not even 30, is he?
He's just so good. His boxing his boxing, I've heard his grappling's even better than his boxing.
But I think it was his first like 6 or 7 fights. He was going straight for takedowns.
What he done to Volkanovski. Everyone was asking me as well, Till, because obviously everyone asks a fucking UFC fighter, what do you think? I think Volkanovski's got this, and he just went in there.
Schooled him.
I think Volkanovski come back a bit too soon now, because he took the Islam fight late notice, which I think if he had took a rematch against Islam, I think Islam would have won. But I think if he did have had a full camp, look how the first fight went. Anything like, I think he just taken it on 11 days.
Took its toll on him.
Yeah, and then coming back 4 months later after getting an egg kicked like that, fighting someone like Topuria, who's like he was confident in himself as well.
And now he's been knocked out now again. Obviously Volkanovski.
He's 35, 36.
I think that's gonna take 2-3 years off his fighting life. Which does he come back now? So it's sort of that thing when you get. The
thing, you don't want to tarnish your legacy either, do you? If you have too many fights at the end of your career, and it's just damaging fights, you're like,
they were saying that Volkanovski was the greatest featherweight of all time. If he comes back and loses one more, that'll go. You know, fans are like
Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson. At one point, he was one of the best ever, and now they just
people were favouring him to be
he's a charity. You feel like
I think if it was Volkanovski, I'd give yourself a hell of a lot of time, which he's not going to do because the cunt loves fighting. But Topuria, for me, right now in the UFC, is the best fighter right now.
But in that instance, then, does he need to have a camp around him and a team to go, listen, lad, time's time, or is it ultimately his decision?
It's whether they will or not.
Look at Conor. Conor's ultimately his own boss, isn't he?
Yeah.
You're not your own boss.
What he says goes.
100 million. So if Conor wants to do something, Conor does
doing it.
You know what I mean?
That Topuria looked a bit shook when the Holloway strap the other night. Did you see him?
Yeah,
when the camera
went on him,
So will he fight him next year?
I think that's going to be the fight.
I think it makes the most sense. I think they'll probably let Volkanovski sit out for a little bit. I don't think he'll take any fights in between, because if he's going to come back, he's going to want it to be for the title, innit?
Has Dana ever stepped in and gone, listen, lad, you need 6 months off?
Yeah. I heard I don't know how much is it, but I heard he done it once where I think it was fucking someone. I think he stepped in even on the team and he went, you ain't fighting. And they were like, no, he went, listen, I'm telling you now, he's just got knocked out. like the other fucking one, you want, he ain't doing it, nah. Said, if you ask again, I'll kick him out, and they were just like, well, sound. So I think even Dana's got his moral compass in check sometimes when it's sort of like, nah, I've got to look after this fight. Ultimately, I'm going to kill this kid's career off or whatever. Because ultimately, that's what you're doing. You're killing brain cells. Then what? Fighting after it, you've got no UFC. Let's say you haven't got a business brain. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Because I can imagine there's only a small percentage of fighters who are looking at passive income.
100%.
They're just all in on scrapping.
Tony Ferguson hasn't looked at no businesses, trust me.
He's just fucking kicking walls everywhere, isn't he?
That's why these
You should take a bricklaying after all the walls he's kicked down.
So you've definitely, while you are fighting, you've got to be thinking, what am I doing after fighting? Am I doing this? Am I going to open? Because if you can open a gym as a fighter, great sound, but listen, gyms don't make money.
Well, the thing is with it as well, there's two ways you can go about it. You can either go down the business route of it and sound like you said that you're always looking to like start this and start that, or like you can do. I think.
Is this what you done when you retired? Yeah.
Well, that's why we're all here now. Lad. You're welcome if anything. Sorry about that. But fucking like, or you can go into sort of trying to build like a social profile. Like I think that's what Paddy's done more. So I don't know what he's doing business wise, but I think he was very smart. He was very smart. He jumped on his own wave at the perfect time.
It's like Scano, Mark Scanlon. Like he never reached the height he probably wanted to fighting, but this is his studio. Like he's got fingers in pies because he's got a lot of passion.
He made a decision. Like I wouldn't have made the same decision, but he made a decision. Like when he was in the UFC, he had one fight. It was like, right, am I going to continue doing this, or am I just going to, right, I got the UFC sound, I'll go off to the businesses and do what I'm doing. This, that, the other, whatever. So it's like, I don't know. For me, I just don't want to sit there in 10 years' time and go, coulda, woulda, shoulda, done more. So I'm still. Even though obviously I've been out the UFC now for one year and like 4 months, something like that, I've been training relentlessly every day.
Seems longer than that, you know.
Yeah, 1 year,
It's
3
mad,
months,
isn't it? It
4
seems
months,
well longer.
I've been training relentlessly every day. I've been honing my craft of boxing. I've been doing things, as I say, behind the scene. Because sometimes, you know what it's like, fighters, do you know what, I've done it. I could just sit back now, go on, I sold the Echo, I fought for the UFC world title, I beat him, I fought him, I lost to him. Sam, mate, I've done enough. No one can ever come and chat to me in Liverpool, I've done enough, Sam. Nah, I don't want that. I want more. And obviously, ultimately, I love money. I want to make a lot of money.
And could it happen, like, obviously, you're not actively in a contract with the UFC, but could your phone ring tomorrow and Dana go, listen, Darren, there's a fight here, I want you back.
100%.
You've got to be ready to go at any point.
I think that's the main thing as well. As I say to you, listen, fucking hell, I love a night out more than anyone. I love eating fucking pies more than anyone. But you can't do all that at the same time, as I said to you about Nate, and just be like, you've got to still be actively doing something, whether it's running, sparring, training, even lifting fucking weights is enough. Like, I always say it to my friend there who's 40, I say, lad, you know, he said, still, I feel great because I just lift weights every day. So even that on its own, let's say you do get that call and then he goes, listen, 2 months, are you going to be ready? If I was just eating and just sitting off, no, ready in 2 months. So you've always got to be, it's probably
and you
just
don't know when that next call is going to come,
that call could come, as you said, tomorrow, and you could go till. And he could make me an offer I couldn't refuse because there's 2 million. How could I sit there and refuse 2 million?
Exactly. No,
that's money that you'll never ever see. It's too much money. So it's like most people, even off the couch, would say, "Yeah, I'll take it." Imagine I could go, "I've been training. I can take that."
Go into it confidently.
Even better.
So, and that creates more opportunities. Then, right, I've made 2 mil. So we've got another fight, 3 mil.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I'm making 5 million. I was on the couch, but I was still training. So you've got to think of it
smart
like that.
What do you reckon about the situation? Because I know you train with that. Aspinall was a cowboy for years, man.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously he's in a bit of a tricky situation with the interim and the undisputed finger heavyweight at the minute.
As I've just said about support, I think Aspinall's one of the best right now.
He's
do you think, because obviously Jones now 36.
Did you see that video of him and Jones when he tried to do the beach test and Jones was like, don't be silly.
Shut up, lad. Dickhead, lad.
I'll reach down your throat, lad, to your soul.
Not even because you're like, obviously like mates with Tom and that. Do you think if he was to fight Jones now, given the age and where they're both at, do you think if there's anyone to beat Jones, it's him?
Do you know what?
Because it's not going to be Stipe.
Yeah. When Tom beat Pavlovich, when he knocked him out, which was fucking
that was crazy,
scary.
Lad.
I was Tom's fucking sparring partner for years. Listen, I know what them fucking punches feel like. But it is, honestly. The guy is
feel it when you get home.
He's a freak of nature. But at one point I was saying, John will probably, even I'd say this to Tom. Tom's one of them guys. He's like a big friendly giant. I think Tom would beat him now. I think he's too young, too fast, too quick. And as you say, even all that lifestyle of Jones, at some point or another along your timeline, catches up.
Yeah.
You know, like I seen him in Thailand doing a seminar, and he was massive, sweating his box off, just looked a little bit like, whereas I know one thing about Tom, he's always training.
Yeah.
No matter what he does.
Yeah.
He lives, Tom's not a flash guy like you could, Tom's made a lot of money now, he won't even see him with a Rolex on, he's not that guy.
Yeah. Like a Monday or sort of.
Yeah, he has a switch. I think when he got a 50 grand bonus, he come to the gym with like a Kia. And I just went, you alright, you? I'm sat there, skint as a fucking thing with a big SVR. I'm like, you got a Kia? Yeah, he's like, it's great, isn't it?
Six-year warranty, lad, it's sick, you know?
Boss for the petty.
He was going on about, he's like, it's lecky and everything. I was like, nah, I was like, you're not that guy, Tom. He's like, I love it still. Leave me alone. And I remember when we made this watch brand and that, listen, he's just a simple guy, Tom. He's obviously moved camps now.
He's like, someone I'd like to get on here one day, Tom. I think he'd be someone who'd be
he's a cool guy. He's just cool, collected, but as I say, he's a fucking killer. And as I was saying about Sapori, I think him and Tom now are probably the two best in the UFC.
So, I think pound for pound here.
That injury scared me though. I thought that was going to see the end of him, but
yeah,
because your MCL, if like in any
ACL,
I thought it was MCL.
No, ACL.
In any sport, though, if you do the ligament,
this is why you have to compare. Like, I'm not trying to rain on footballers' parades, but they'd be out 3 years. Tom was out 6 months and back, and just like so.
Shows how much you want it though.
He's a scary guy, I promise you. And I've trained with him all my life. I've seen him from a kid. He's fucking phenomenal.
I seen a video of him today, and he was coming back from the fight at the airport. He was like, I'm just terrible. I fucking predicted the fight. He got everything wrong. He went, don't ask me about fights again.
But I seen him for years, just like with our coach Colin. Just the shit that Colin used to have him doing. Like, that's like why he's so fast now. See, Colin would have him doing like 300 punches around and stuff like that. Like,
that's crazy,
scary guy. I remember when he was fighting Volkov. Volkov 6'7", 6'8", and our coach Colin taped these big like white tape like at the top of the bag, and Tom had to punch that. Imagine punching that every round for your shoulders, because Volkov was that big and he'd have to kick it. It's like things I've seen Tom do. Things I've seen Tom do in the gym is like crisp, different level.
Who's between, obviously, because you've done the years in Brazil and that, who's between there and here, who's the highest level, like the most high level fighter you think you've seen, but even through sparring, has there ever been anyone who stands out?
Tom Kamzat, and there's a guy called Julio Caesar.
Julio.
I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, I think I'm on him.
So thrown by storm.
Do you know him? Yeah.
You named the salad after him.
He's still about, you know. He was in Brazil. Wow, that guy was scary. Like, I remember when I first got to Brazil. Listen, I've never been really scared of anything. Fucking, he scared me a little bit. I remember he threw this axe spin fucking on its head kick to me. Right, and it fucking whizzed past me like that, and I went, wow. Listen, I seen him do some shit in the gym when he was a Brazil. We used to live in like the favelas, fucking basically. That's what I mean. I've had a fucking mad experience of life. And
County Road to the favelas.
To the UFC. Should make a fucking documentary about it. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing on this podcast.
I know. Bottom the barrel, doing us a favour, lad.
But yeah, so I'd say them three: Tom, Kamzat, and Julio Caesar.
On the back of that question, then, is there anyone who you've like trained with, or who you think has never reached the height they should have done?
Yeah, there's a few.
Is there?
Probably the best fighter who I've ever come across, Terry Etten. I don't know if he's...
Yeah.
He went to jail, didn't he?
No, Paul Kelly.
Is Terry Etten the one who got caught by Barboza with the fucking wheel kick? Yeah.
Paul Kelly's actually just went back to jail. Hi, Paul.
Was he?
Yeah, he was at the...
Oh, no, I was on the fella who was fucking the one years ago. He was in the UFC. Was he the one from Manny?
Who?
I'm sure he was in the UFC. He was from Manny years ago, and he was like, I'll have to find his name and I'll let you know.
Terry Etten, anyway, he's the best talent I've ever come across ever in my life. I've never seen a guy as good as him ever. Like, and anyone you speak to, who obviously from our days in Carbon, Team Carbon, we were at our height.
I used to go to Carbon just for like fitness. I had one white collar and I got sparked out. But Terry Etten was like prime. And I used to just watch him.
If you speak to anyone, if you speak to Tom, if you speak to Paul, if you speak to like anyone in the know, they'll say like, when they've ever... I remember coming through the doors at Carbon when I was like 18. I remember when Colin like said accepted me to go to the gym, and I remember seeing him on the mat, and I was only 18, and I remember thinking, wow. And then I sparred him. I'd never ever been dropped at this point in my life, and he dropped me 3 times with a body shot, and I remember thinking, nah, you're
I'm going home.
Then I went home. I went home on the bus. I was like, what the fuck? Even to this day, even when you speak to people about him, even Dana White used to love him. Used to love him, and obviously, he never, fucking never reached the height he was meant to reach.
He had some demons.
He had some demons, yeah. Like everyone in the fight game has got them. You've seen them, but for me, pound for pound, being on the mat and watching what that guy was capable of, I used to think, wow, you should have been heavyweight world champion in UFC. He was that good. Yeah. And he was that big for the weight. He was like, for a lightweight, he was bigger than Khabib.
It's crazy, that.
Massive.
Crazy.
It's just the way the fighting game goes.
That's it.
Like, because remember the instance up in Old Swan with the bus?
Yeah, he had an instant
He
with
sparked
the
the bus out, he fucking just ran at the bus.
He battered the bus.
First. Yeah, he battered the bus.
That's
how hard he was. He ran at the bus, fucking head first, just jumped through the windscreen. And
everyone should have been dead bar Terry. That's how hard he was.
We drove past him in town a few months back. He was at the Tesco Express on fucking Victoria Street, I think it is. And our Mark's in the car, and our Mark goes, "Stan and Terry," because our Mark knew him from years ago. He was like, "All right, lads," like, remember that bus? And I was going, why are you saying that to Terry?
That's one guy you don't want to say.
I was like, Terry, he's not with me, Terry. He's not with me, lads, sorry.
He's one guy I'm fucking with. Like, but even after fighting as well, just to show you that the brain he had him, he made a fucking career out of poker. Like, he became a professional poker player.
But he was a nice lad as well.
He was so, well, listen, this is what I say. Like, anyone you speak to about him, you go, "Is it mad about Terry?" And I go, "What?" They go, "He's just a gentleman, isn't he?" Yeah. He'd like go out of his way to shake your hand, say hello, say goodbye. Not on any social media, not like that guy out there. Ghost. And then after fighting, became this guy. And I remember heard about it because I started playing like little bits of poker, and I'd be like, "Oh, Terry's coming tonight." I'd be like, "What?" People were scared to play poker with Terry. He was that good at that guy, for me, he can just do it. He could probably come here and take over there. He's just that.
Don't let him, to be honest.
Some people have just got that where they just turn the man and go, right, I'm going to become the best at that. Yeah. And he's that guy. So if you're asking me, yeah, he's the best I've ever been across.
Nice. Well, look, we're going to have to call it there because we're going to have to shoot on. Darren, thanks very much. Thanks everyone for watching. We've been the What's Happening podcast. Thank you as always for watching. We'll see you next week. Ta-da.